Fierce Lord. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1 Career Choice. Discovered a planet with life, discovered intelligent humanoids, meeting new player requirements, select new players to be dropped into the game world. The moment an unknown entity discovered the humans of Blue Star, it was as if time on the entire Blue Star froze. All of the humans on Blue Star, organized into families, were pulled into dark, endless rooms, with only the souls of the humans emitting a faint glow. This sudden change left billions of humans on Blue Star in panic. Even the presence of their families couldn't ease their fear. Before they could tremble and cry, hugging their loved ones, a neutral, emotionless voice spoke in their minds. A new game is about to begin. Everyone has only one life. Upon death, you return to reality. No matter how much time passes in the game world, the real world will only have passed in an instant. Level up in the game by 1, and you'll gain 1 additional year of life upon return. Level 20, all physical ailments disappear. Level 50, and you'll regain your youth. Silently say accept to begin the game's career selection process. Silently say relinquish to return to reality. As the final words were spoken, hundreds of millions of Blue Star humans, nearly devastated by the shocking events, silently said relinquish, their figures vanishing from the room. Those who immediately chose to relinquish perhaps simply thought they were having a nightmare, hoping for a quick end. But many more chose to accept. After calming down a bit, they realized this was a golden opportunity, and that giving it up would be foolish. After all, they wouldn't actually die. Longevity, youth, and freedom from illness and disaster, that's what all humans desire. However, not all Blue Star humans can make this choice for themselves. Those under 12, except for orphans, must have their parents make the decision. Soon, hundreds of millions more figures vanished from the rooms. In a room filled with only one figure, Zhao Yi silently said accept without hesitation. The next moment, 3 stone statues, each as tall as Zhao Yi and emitting a faint glow, appeared before him. Zhao Yi examined the 3 statues carefully. The left statue depicted a warrior in armor, holding a sword. The middle statue depicted a mage in robes, holding a wand. The right statue depicted a farmer in plain clothes, holding a hoe. Warrior, mage, farmer. Just as Zhao Yi was puzzled, new words entered his mind. Resolving his doubts, touch the stone statue with your hand, and the career assessment begins. The 3 stone statues from left to right are respectively the Lord Career, the Combat Career, and the Life Career. There are 3 chances for the Lord Career assessment. If you succeed once, you can become a lowest level Lord and own a territory. If you succeed in the Lord Career assessment, you can continue to the Combat Career assessment. If you fail the Lord Career assessment, you can continue to the Combat Career assessment or the Life Career assessment. The Combat Career is divided into 5 major systems: Warrior, Assassin, Archer, Mage, and Priest. There are 5 chances for the Combat Career assessment. You can choose the same career for all 5 chances, or you can choose different careers. If you succeed on the first chance, you will be employed in the corresponding career. If you succeed in the Combat Career assessment, you cannot proceed to the Lord Career assessment and the Life Career assessment. If you fail the Combat Career assessment, you can continue to the Life Career assessment. Fail both the Lord Career assessment and the Combat Career assessment, and you can only proceed to the Life Career assessment. There are 10 chances for the Life Career assessment. If you fail all of them, you will be disqualified from the game. The initial career choice is not absolute. In the game world, players can obtain new careers according to their own ideas. The words in his mind ended, and Zhao Yi habitually touched his chin with his right hand. As a young man who had just graduated from university less than a year ago, Zhao Yi had played a wide range of games, including role-playing, strategy, action-adventure, casual puzzle, shooting, and chess. He wasn't a seasoned gamer, but he wasn't a complete novice either, having mastered most of the basic gaming knowledge. Zhao Yi felt that of the 3 major classes, the Lord class was probably the most important. Becoming a Lord meant recruiting subjects, building a territory, and commanding an army. These subjects likely included players in combat and lifestyle classes. While lifestyle classes had 10 assessment opportunities, combat classes had 5, the Lord class only had 3. This small number of opportunities reflected both the difficulty and the importance of the class. After a brief hesitation, Zhao Yi made up his mind and reached out to touch the Lord statue. Failing the assessment didn't matter, it wouldn't kill him. If he failed the Lord class, there were still assessments for combat and lifestyle classes. The moment Zhao Yi touched the Lord statue, the scene shifted dramatically. The three statues vanished, the ground turned gray and black, and the sky was shrouded in dark clouds, devoid of any light. The Lord assessment has begun. In 10 minutes, a team of 34 skeleton swordsmen will attack you. Please recruit soldiers quickly to eliminate the enemy. As the voice in his mind died, a light screen, approximately 14 inches in size, appeared before Zhao Yi. It displayed some pictorial text, a very sci-fi feel. Zhao Yi carefully examined the contents. The screen was divided into 2 pages, the left page for enemy introductions, the right for recruitment. He first focused on the enemy introduction page, which showed a portrait and a few words of introduction. A skeleton, covered in grayish-white bones, with soul fire burning in its eyes, wielded a rusty longsword. Skeleton swordsman, level 0 and 3, equipment, broken iron sword, skills, none, attributes, physical damage, with death corrosion, quantity 34. After reading the enemy introductions, Zhao Yi immediately turned to the recruitment page. The recruitment page featured 5 character portraits, a warrior in armor wielding a longsword, an assassin in leather armor wielding a dagger, an archer in leather armor wielding a bow and arrow, a mage in black robes wielding a staff, and a priest in white robes wielding a staff. All were male characters. In the upper left corner, there was a column with 3,000 points. Zhao Yi tentatively reached out and clicked on the warrior portrait, immediately entering the next page. The 4 warrior classes appeared: swordsman, shield warrior, spearman, and knight. Below the portraits were brief descriptions of the classes, and at the bottom were the point requirements for recruiting soldiers of each class. Swordsmen and spearmen each required only 100 points, while shield warriors required 150 points, and knights a whopping 500 points. Instead of recruiting immediately, Zhao Yi clicked back and then clicked again to the assassin page. The assassin page only had a single assassin, requiring 200 points to recruit one. The archer page also had a single archer, requiring 300 points to recruit one. The mage page, however, featured more classes: fire mage, water mage, earth mage, wind mage, and nature mage. With the exception of the nature mage, which cost 1,500 points, the other 4 classes all cost 1,000. The priest page also featured only priest, requiring 3,000 points to recruit one. Seeing the point requirement and the fact that the level 0 cleric only had a minor healing skill, Zhao Yi passed on the priest without hesitation. With only 3,000 points, it was impossible to recruit only a priest with weak attack power. Flipping through the screen, Zhao Yi pondered. A quick decision was needed. Less than 9 minutes remained until the enemy appeared. Following the priest, the assassin was the next one Zhao Yi passed on. With high attack power and a high speed, and thin skin, the assassin was only suitable for scouting and sneak attacks on single enemies. He had no chance of performing well in the upcoming battle. The mage was the 3rd class Zhao Yi passed on. A level 0 mage was too weak, with only enough mana to cast around 3 basic spells. Of the 5 mage classes, only the fire mage's basic spells deal damage, specifically single target attacks. The other mage classes' basic spells are either defensive or supportive. Apparently, the only options are warriors and archers. Archers are ranged, while warriors are melee, so it's worth recruiting a mix of both. After carefully studying the archers, Zhao Yi suddenly realized they were a bit of a bug among the 5 classes. The problem lay in the special arrows they carried. Each archer carried 20 arrows. 10 regular arrows and 10 primary explosive arrows. The on-screen description indicated that the primary explosive arrows dealt significant damage. Against a level 0-3 skeleton swordsman, a single hit above the chest would instantly kill him. Taking it a step further, recruiting 10 archers for 3,000 points, each firing up to 5 primary explosive arrows, would be enough to take out a 34 skeleton swordsman. In addition, the archer's basic skill is rapid fire, which can increase the shooting frequency in a short period of time. Even if it is a poor match, using all the explosive arrows is enough to destroy all the skeleton swordsmen. After a little thought, Zhao Yi decided to play it safe and recruit 8 archers, plus 4 shield warriors, just enough to use up all 3,000 points. Chapter 2: Archer and Shield Fighter. Let's try recruiting an archer first. Zhao Yi operated on the screen. The next second after completing the recruitment operation, a circle of light, approximately 1 meter in diameter, appeared on the ground 3 meters in front of him. In just a few seconds, the circle of light went from dim to dazzling. An archer, approximately 1.75 meters tall, wearing leather armor, holding a bow in his left hand, a short sword at his waist, and a quiver on his back, appeared in the circle of light. As the archer stepped out of the circle of light, Zhao Yi could clearly see that he had an oriental face with black hair and dark eyes. The archer looked at Zhao Yi with a solemn expression, clenching his right fist and placing his arm across his chest. "Archer Gary, reporting to the Lord." The archer's words were not in any human language on Blue Star, but Zhao Yi understood them, just as the words on the screen were not on the language used by Blue Star humans, but Zhao Yi could also understand them. Thinking rapidly, Zhao Yi decided to treat the archer before him as a real person with independent thoughts. "Archer Gary, welcome," Zhao Yi said with a smile. "I swear to die for the Lord, I will lead you to victory. Please wait here, more brothers will be arriving soon, as you command." Zhao Yi then clicked to recruit a shield warrior. Seconds later, a burly man at least 1.8 meters tall emerged from the circle of light. He was clad in armor, holding a large shield, and a one-handed sword hung from his waist. "Warrior Daniel, reporting to the Lord." "Warrior Daniel, welcome aboard," Zhao Yi repeated his earlier words to Gary. Daniel's response was similar to Gary's. From their words and expressions, one could sense their loyalty. Seeing that recruiting one archer and one shield warrior was no problem, Zhao Yi quickly recruited the remaining 7 archers and 3 shield warriors. With less than 2 minutes left until the enemy attack, the archers, with better vision, had already spotted a group of skeleton soldiers heading north. Seeing the skeleton soldiers appear, all the soldiers gnashed their teeth, their anger towards them palpable. Their side consisted of only 12 soldiers, a small number, yet formation was necessary. To maximize the archers' potential, Zhao Yi ordered 8 of them to form a line facing north. Of the 4 shield warriors, 2 knelt in front of the archers, their large shields planted in the ground, leaving them exposed to the archers' attack range. The remaining 2 shield warriors flanked Zhao Yi. Compared to the soldiers, Zhao Yi was merely an ordinary man, unable to outrun the skeleton swordsman and easily slain in a single blow. Therefore, he needed the shield warrior's protection. Even if all his soldiers perished, as long as all the enemies were eliminated, he would have won the Lord's career assessment. The Lord's career assessment consisted of victory and defeat, with no additional points awarded. 10 minutes passed, and the enemy was about to enter the archer's range. The archers used the most common bamboo bows, with a maximum range of 120 meters and an effective kill range of 80 meters. To accurately kill the enemy, it was best to bring them within 50 meters. At this point, Zhao Yi began issuing his first combat orders. "All archers, prepare. Use ordinary arrows and launch a test attack on the enemy." Yes, 8 archers drew ordinary arrows from their quivers, drew their bows, and waited for Zhao Yi's command to shoot. Zhao Yi paused for a moment, then, observing the archer's waiting posture, understood that he needed to give the command. "Target the enemy ahead, shoot." As soon as Zhao Yi finished speaking, all 8 archers unleashed their arrows. In just 2 seconds, the arrows traversed over 100 meters, 5 hitting the advancing skeletons, while 3 missed. Even if 5 arrows had hit, at a distance of over 100 meters, their power was minimal. They simply bounced off the skeleton's bones, incapable of causing any damage, not even enough to hinder their advance. The 34 skeleton swordsmen ignored the incoming arrows and marched unwaveringly towards Zhao Yi's position. Watching this scene from afar, Zhao Yi understood. The skeleton swordsman wore no armor, nor did he possess flesh and blood. Ordinary arrows could inflict damage on a flesh and blood foe, but not on a skeleton swordsman made of nothing but bones. Unless the arrows were powerful enough to sever the skeleton swordsman's bones, a feat impossible with the bamboo bows wielded by 8 archers, they would have to rely on their special primary explosive arrows to destroy the skeleton swordsman. 100 meters, 90 meters, 80 meters. The enemy drew closer, and Zhao Yi's heart grew heavy. The 12 soldiers, each with a solemn expression, gripped their weapons tightly. "All archers, prepare. Use ordinary arrows and launch another test attack." Yes, 8 seconds later, a second wave of arrows blazed, 7 of which struck the skeleton swordsman, still causing no damage, nor halting his advance. 70 meters, 60 meters. Prepare primary explosive arrows. All the archers silently pulled out a primary explosive arrow, gently pressed the tip of the arrow to activate it, and then drew the string. Shoot. Just as the leading skeleton swordsman was within 50 meters of their horde, in the blink of an eye, 8 primary explosive arrows collided head-on with the 4 skeleton swordsmen in the front. Bang! This time, the arrows that hit the skeleton swordsman no longer deflected off the bones, but exploded. Skeleton swordsmen from level 0 to 3 were simply unable to withstand the explosive power of the primary explosive arrows. A hit in the leg would instantly destroy the leg, a hit in the arm would also destroy the arm, and a hit above the chest would directly blow off the skeleton swordsman's vital head. Some arrows missed vital points, but the 8 primary explosive arrows easily mowed down the 4 skeleton swordsmen in the front. However, the deaths of 4 skeleton swordsmen also caused the remaining ones to shift gears. They stopped walking and began running, brandishing their broken iron swords and charging at the creatures ahead. Free fire! Zhao Yi quickly issued a new order, and the 8 archers continued to draw their primary explosive arrows and lobbed them at the oncoming skeleton swordsmen. By this time, the 8 archers had developed a certain level of tacit understanding, choosing their targets individually. The chances of hitting a single skeleton swordsman with 2 arrows had greatly decreased. Like a series of firecrackers exploding, the skeleton swordsmen were harvested one by one. Under the primary explosive arrows, the skeleton swordsmen had no chance of resisting. The number of skeleton swordsmen who died increased, but the remaining ones continued to charge forward. Behind them, 3 skeleton swordsmen with their legs blown off struggled to crawl forward. Use rapid fire. Rapid fire is a basic archer skill that increases the shooting speed for a short period of time. The cooldown time is a full hour. It is enough to easily eliminate the remaining 16 skeleton swordsmen within the duration of rapid fire. At a distance of only 30 meters, the archers were unlikely to miss. Each fired 2 primary explosive arrows, and they were able to eliminate all the remaining skeleton swordsmen. Amidst the continuous explosions, one skeleton swordsman after another fell to the ground, reduced to a pile of bones. Even the last few skeleton swordsmen, whose legs had been blown off, still crawled forward, were once again targeted by the archers. Just as Zhao Yi was about to send the shield warrior forward to finish off the remaining enemies, he noticed that the scene around him had changed. From the battlefield, he returned to the original dark room. The 3 stone statues before him were only the combat class statues. Chapter 3, Invincible Shooter. Congratulations, player, for passing the Lord class assessment. Please continue with the class assessment. This Lord class assessment isn't that difficult. Surely not all players will become lords. Probably not. For most ordinary people, even with 3 chances, passing the Lord class assessment is difficult if they don't play the game much. Zhao Yi analyzed the situation briefly, then reached out to touch the stone statue. The moment his hand touched the statue, the scene didn't change instantly like it did with the Lord class assessment. The screen reappeared. It was similar to the previous recruitment page, showing the same 5 class portraits, with the class difficulty levels listed below them: Warrior, 1 star, Assassin, 2 star, Archer, 3 star, Mage, 4 star, Priest, 5 star. What baffled Zhao Yi the most was that, compared to the brighter options for the other 4, the Priest option was dim, preventing him from selecting the Priest class for the assessment. Well, if I can't choose a Priest, then I won't. I've never considered becoming one anyway. Priests are supportive, and a lord needs to lead battles from the front. The two don't mesh. Similar to the priest's options, assassins, primarily focused on reconnaissance and stealth, weren't suitable for the lord either. That left warriors, archers, and mages. Faced with this so-called master of magic, Zhao Yi hesitated before ultimately choosing the archer. When Zhao Yi was young, his parents divorced and each formed a new family. He lived with his grandparents in the countryside. He didn't have much pocket money for toys, and influenced by martial arts television, he loved wielding swords and spears, using sticks to bash weeds like enemies. Even more enjoyable than wielding a spear was archery. He would search the mountains for thick vines, bend them, and tie the ends with string to create a simple bow. He would then use straight, thin vines as arrows. Although the range of these bows was only a dozen or 20 meters and their power was minimal, Zhao Yi never tired of playing with them, continuing until he entered junior high school. When Zhao Yi arrived at university, he discovered there was an archery club and signed up immediately. Lacking the money to buy a bow and arrow, he resorted to using the club's old bows. Even so, Zhao Yi showed some talent for archery. A provincial athlete came to the club for instruction and, upon recognizing Zhao Yi's talent, looked on with regret. He said Zhao Yi was too old. If he had been trained at a younger age, he would have had no problem making the provincial team. Zhao Yi didn't feel any pity. Archery was just a hobby, something he enjoyed whenever he wanted, not a professional one. Now faced with a choice of combat class, Zhao Yi chose the familiar archer. While the mage was powerful, the differences between the 5 major classes in the game weren't that great. There weren't useless classes, only players with poor skills. Furthermore, a lord's primary role was commanding battles. Personally engaging in combat was much less likely. He simply let his subordinates handle the tasks. Without further ado, Zhao Yi clicked on the screen and selected the archer. The next moment, the surroundings shifted, revealing a scene similar to the previous Lord class assessment. The archer class assessment is about to begin. You have 10 minutes to familiarize yourself with the class. After 10 minutes, 2 level 0 skeleton swordsmen will attack you. Eliminate the skeleton swordsman to pass the archer class assessment. As the voice in his mind died down, new information appeared, covering the archer class, including bow and arrow drawing, aiming, determining wind direction, and using elementary explosive arrows. This seemed relatively simple to Zhao Yi. After all, he had been practicing archery for a long time, primarily with stationary targets, but also with moving ones. Eliminating 2 barely dodging skeleton swordsmen shouldn't be too difficult. The only problem was the bow and arrow. This wasn't a familiar one, so it would take time to practice, but the time was short. Zhao Yi wasted no time, immediately picking up the bow and quiver lying on the ground in front of him. He tested the bow, and found that the ordinary bamboo bow worked fine. He then took an ordinary arrow from his quiver and knocked the bow. After firing his first arrow, Zhao Yi began to feel somewhat comfortable. At his current position, a 10-meter range was a surefire hit. However, there were 2 skeleton swordsmen. If he eliminated one, the remaining one would rush over and kill him before the other arrow could be released. Of course, after firing, he could quickly run back and prepare his second arrow, which would increase his chances of destroying both skeleton swordsmen. However, Zhao Yi was more interested in eliminating both right where he stood. Therefore, he had to seize the opportunity to practice his bow and arrow, aiming to eliminate one of the skeleton swordsmen at a range of approximately 30 meters. With 10 primary explosive arrows in his quiver, his chances of success were high. The practice time flew by, and 2 skeleton swordsmen, walking side by side about a meter apart, appeared in Zhao Yi's field of vision. When they were over 100 meters apart, Zhao Yi fired his first arrow at the skeleton swordsman, but, as expected, it missed, with a margin of error of nearly 2 meters. The skeleton swordsman advanced a few dozen meters, and Zhao Yi tentatively fired a second arrow, missing the skeleton swordsman by less than half a meter. After firing the second arrow, Zhao Yi pulled a primary explosive arrow from his quiver, activated it, drew the bowstring, and took aim. When the 2 sides were still more than 50 meters apart, Zhao Yi fired an arrow. Bang! The arrow brushed past the skeleton swordsman on the left, and finally exploded when it hit the ground. He quickly took out the second primary explosive arrow, took aim, and fired. Bang! He finally hit the enemy, the arrow hitting the thigh of the skeleton swordsman on the left, directly blowing off his lower body. The skeleton swordsman without a lower body continued to crawl forward on his hands, while the skeleton swordsman on the right, who was intact, had already stopped walking and ran, rushing straight towards Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi was slightly excited about hitting an enemy, so much so that the third primary explosive arrow missed. When the skeleton swordsman was nearly 20 meters away from Zhao Yi, the fourth primary explosive arrow finally struck the skeleton swordsman in the chest, taking him out with a single blow. Worried he hadn't killed the skeleton swordsman, Zhao Yi fired another arrow, then aimed the sixth arrow at the half-dead skeleton swordsman behind him. As the sixth primary explosive arrow exploded, accompanied by the voice of Archer class assessment successful. Game officially begins. Zhao Yi felt his vision go dark before suddenly returning to light. It was sunlight. A star, even larger than the sun on Blue Planet, shone down on the earth. Zhao Yi could already feel the scorching heat of the sun in the game world. It felt different, like flesh and blood, as if it were real. Perhaps even the legendary virtual reality games couldn't achieve this. His attire had also changed. Although he had previously been a spirit, His physical form had remained the same as on Blue Planet during his time traveling. Now, Zhao Yi was dressed in the garb of an archer. He wore leather armor, a bow in his left hand, a short sword at his waist, and a quiver slung across his back, the perfect archer's attire. However, the decorations differed somewhat from those of the archers recruited during the Lord's professional assessment. Zhao Yi felt his own decorations were more ornate, with added patterns and gold edging. This was probably the treatment a lord deserved. Clenching his right fist, Zhao Yi looked around. To his left was a courtyard over 200 square meters, its low walls concealing the brick and stone houses within. To his right was a circular building, approximately 3 meters in diameter and less than 10 centimeters high. It was unclear whether it was stone or metal, but it was engraved with various patterns. In the distance, 2 rows of about 10 smaller courtyards could be seen, each containing a mud and stone house. Further in the distance, a straight earth and stone wall, about 1.5 meters high, surrounded the area, leaving only a gate in the front. The area enclosed by the wall was probably slightly larger than a standard football field. Is this my territory? Why is there no one here? Just as Zhao Yi pondered this, the light screen appeared out of thin air again. Please name your village in the territory. Zhao Yi didn't think for a second before silently saying, Zhao, I have collected and invested in 2 chapters. I am moved. Chapter 4 Properties. Name successful. Your subjects will soon emerge from the teleportation array. Please accept their allegiance and lead them to develop the territory and defend against the enemy. Please note, every night after dusk, a large number of undead will emerge from the cemetery and attack all living beings. During the 3-day novice period, the only attacking undead will be skeleton swordsmen. Their level will not exceed the highest level of 5 in the territory. The number of undead attacking each night will be approximately 1/3 of the territory's population. Lines of text flashed across the screen, making Zhao Yi's mouth twitch. Monsters attack the city every day. Are they kidding me? Before Zhao Yi could think further, a bright light emanated from the teleportation array to his right, attracting his attention. Soon, figures appeared from the teleportation array. The first to appear was a family of 4, a couple at least 35 years old, a warrior in his 20s wearing bright white armor and wielding a broadsword, and a girl about 15 with pigtails. All 4 of them carried large packages, and the couple held farm tools. Just as the family of 4 emerged from the teleportation array, the young warrior set down his bag, sorted his gear, and headed straight for Zhao Yi. About 2 meters from Zhao Yi, the young warrior stopped, clenched his right fist, and placed his arm across his chest, saluting Zhao Yi. Soldier Kevin, reporting to the Lord. Soldier Kevin, welcome aboard, Zhao Yi replied with a smile. We swear to serve the Lord until death. Meanwhile, figures continued to appear in the teleportation array. Another family emerged, a couple of 3, seemingly around 25 years old. The husband, dressed similarly to Kevin, was also a warrior, and they had a 6 or 7-year-old son. Soldier Phoebe, reporting to the Lord. Soldier Phoebe, welcome aboard, Zhao Yi repeated. We swear to serve the Lord until death. Before the end, 3 more families emerged from the teleportation array, totaling 14 people, 2 farmers and 1 artisan, a stonemason. Compared to the 2 warrior families, the adults in the 3 civilian families didn't dare even look up at the Lord. Only the children would occasionally peek at Zhao Yi. Zhao Yi gave a brief welcome speech to the first 21 subjects of the territory, declaring that under his leadership, all would be well fed and warmly clothed, and would defeat all enemies. After this brief speech, if Zhao Yi reviewed the subjects' profiles, he would notice a surge in their loyalty. With his speech over, the next step was to assign housing. The large mansion to the side was the Lord's residence, while the smaller courtyard in front was the subject's residence. Each household was allocated a small courtyard, approximately 80 square meters, which in turn boosted the loyalty of the 3 civilian families. You've just arrived at the territory. Please tidy up your own rooms first. After that, Kevin and Phoebe will report to me. Yes, sir. With that, Zhao Yi walked towards his lord's residence, studying the information on the screen as he walked. The light screen is called System Interface. Simply saying System will bring it up. There are currently 7 icons on the desktop: Personal, Territory, Point Small, Address Book, Forum, System Log, and Tools. There's also an Exit Game button in the lower right corner. This option allows players to forcibly exit the game world and return to reality at any time, but once exited, there's no way back. Zhao Yi first clicked on Personal, Name, Zhao Yi, Number 3,621,564,825. Lifespan 24/85. Occupation 3rd class Baron level 0 Archer 0%. Attributes: Strength 7, Constitution 7, Agility 7, Wisdom 6. Free attribute points 0. Charm 7. Command 0/42. Active skills: Rapid fire, primary 0%, increases archery speed by 30%, lasts for 1 minute, cooldown time 1 hour. Passive skills: none. Legion skills: arrow without missing target, primary 0%. Among the soldiers under command, the archer's hit rate increases by 10%. Talent skills: none. Equipment: bamboo bow, dagger, iron arrow, primary explosive arrow, leather armor, leather boots. The initial attributes are somewhat related to the real body. The upper limit of each attribute of humans on Blue Star is 10. Zhao Yi saw that his attributes were just slightly stronger than those of an average person, which was roughly consistent with reality. A surprising addition was the Legion skill, unerring arrows, a passive aura skill with no cooldown. This gave Zhao Yi more confidence in leading his subjects through the night. The 6 items in the equipment bar could be clicked to view their specific attributes. 5 of them were Tier 0, blank items without any special attributes. Only the primary explosive arrow was Tier 1, black iron grade equipment with explosive damage. While checking his personal attributes, Zhao Yi had already reached a lord's mansion. The gates were open, and Zhao Yi walked right in. Walking around the mansion, a rough floor plan emerged in his mind. To the north stood a row of main rooms, flanked by side rooms. One served as a kitchen and storage room, while another housed servants. To the south were utility buildings like stables and toilets. The main room also contained a treasure room, where the system gave new players a small amount of wealth, including 100 gold coins and 10 low-grade magic crystals. Given the purchasing power of gold coins, a commoner living in a rural area could meet their basic needs with just 1 gold coin per year. Magic crystals aren't just currency. Some alchemical items, formations, and even teleportation arrays require them as energy. They also aid in professional cultivation, accelerating the recovery of their fighting spirit and mana. Lacking special equipment, this little wealth would have to remain in the treasure room. After exploring the Lord's mansion, Zhao Yi sat down on the large wooden bed in the master bedroom, summoning the system interface to continue browsing. He clicked on Territory, 3rd class Barony, Lord, Zhao Yi, Territory Area. 5 square kilometers. Organization, Zhao Village, a 3rd level village covering 10,000 square meters. Population, 22/300. Military force, 2. Public sentiment, 85. Public security, 100. Buildings, Lord's Mansion, teleportation array, 10 residential buildings, wall, territory upgrade conditions. 1. Increase in rank. 2. Reach the population limit. Clicking, 3rd class Barony, revealed a vast map. This is the map of the game world. At its center is a vast landmass, the Origin Continent. Based on the scale, the Origin Continent is over 10 times the size of Blue Star. It's surrounded by the sea, with several islands dotting the waters. The Origin Continent is divided into 5 regions: Central, East, West, South, and North. Zhao Yi's territory is a small red dot on the map, located in the northern Rhoda province of the Violet Kingdom in the eastern region. The map can be zoomed in and out, showing important cities and regions, but no detailed topography. This world map is of little use to Zhao Yi, and it doesn't even inspire him to ambitious goals, as he's currently too weak. Clicking on Zhao Village brings up a layout of the village, showing only buildings such as the Lord's Mansion, a teleportation array, residential buildings, and a wall, along with large expanses of open space. Clicking on population brings up a character list, each of which can be clicked to view. Zhao Yi clicked on Kevin's name, Kevin, gender, male, age, 19, occupation, level 0 swordsman, 0%, talent, 1 star, skill, heavy attack, loyalty, 82, salary, 30 silver month. The other attributes don't matter. What Zhao Yi cares about most is loyalty. The maximum value is 100. When it reaches 80, it is difficult to betray the Lord. Checking the names of each person, even the children, their loyalty is over 80. This makes Zhao Yi very relieved. The chapter update time before the release is almost fixed, one chapter at 12 noon and one chapter at 8 p.m. The additional chapters will be mainly added after the release. Chapter 5 Hope. He closed the territory page and opened the Points Mall. The Points Mall homepage contained numerous options: food, supplies, equipment, potions, skills, titles, recruitment, and more, as well as a points column. There were only 3,000 points. In the upper right corner, beneath the X, there was a sign for help. Zhao Yi clicked it, and an introduction to the Points Mall appeared. Points could only be earned by slaying undead. The higher the level of the undead, the more points were earned. Points could be used to shop in the Points Mall. Killing a level 0 undead earned 10 points, level 1 15 points, level 2 20 points, level 3 25 points, all the way up to level 9 55 points. Killing a level 10 undead gave him 100 points, and level 11 150 points. Zhao Yi didn't read any further. The numbers at the end were even astronomical, but that wasn't what he should be thinking about right now. His main focus was developing his territory and defending against the undead that would attack at night. He had to kill as many as possible to earn points. Returning to the Points Mall homepage, Zhao Yi browsed through each page. Almost everything available on the Origin continent was available in the Points Mall. With only 3,000 points, Zhao Yi could only feast his eyes. The primary explosive arrows used in the professional assessment sold for 10 points each in the Points Mall, the same as killing a level 0 undead. If a primary explosive arrow couldn't kill a level 0 undead, it would be a loss. Looking at the 10 primary explosive arrows in his quiver, Zhao Yi felt like he'd made a profit. Every archer he recruited would carry 10 primary explosive arrows, so it looked like he could recruit more archers. Storage equipment was available in the Points Mall, of course, but the price was incredibly high, at 1,000 points per cubic meter. It was too expensive, so Zhao Yi couldn't bear to buy it. He had to wait for the standard storage equipment. As for food, white bread cost 1 point per jin, 0.5 caddies, which was very expensive. He placed it on the recruitment page, and with the points needed to buy 100 jin, 0.5 caddies, of white bread, he could recruit a swordsman. The recruitment page is arguably Zhao Yi's most important page. A small section of the recruitment page in the Points Store is identical to the recruitment page during the Lord Career Assessment, specifically the Soldier recruitment page. The points required for recruitment remain unchanged. The only difference is that when you recruit a person, you also recruit their entire family. In addition to the Soldier recruitment page, there's also a Civilian recruitment page, where you can recruit farmers, woodcutters, and artisans, blacksmiths, stonemasons, and carpenters, directly on a family basis. Compared to soldiers, civilians are much cheaper. Recruiting the cheapest soldier costs 100 points, while the cheapest civilian only 10. Recruiting civilians like farmers and woodcutters costs only 10 points per household, while recruiting civilians like blacksmiths, stonemasons, and carpenters costs 20 points. You can also spend more points to recruit the citizens you desire. And most importantly, recruits from the Points Store start with a loyalty of 80. Of course, this applies to recruiting natives of the Origin continent. Players can also be recruited from the Points Store. Players are divided into combat and livelihood classes, corresponding to the various native recruitment options. Recruiting players requires significantly fewer points than recruiting natives of the corresponding class, with a discount ranging from 20% to 50%. For example, recruiting a soldier requires 100 points from a native, while only 50 points from a player, a significant difference. However, recruiting natives differs significantly from recruiting players. Natives have guaranteed loyalty, but for Blue Star players, this loyalty is irrelevant. They may betray their lords at the slightest disagreement, even turning on them. Loyalty is one thing, as is combat experience. In a short period of time, combat class players simply cannot compete with natives. Furthermore, many Blue Star humans have lived in peacetime, and even a low-intensity battle could easily overwhelm them and cause them to leave the game world. Only players with a military background in the real world can quickly adapt to combat in the game world. Players' strengths lie in their experience and literacy, but whether their scientific knowledge can be applied in the game world remains uncertain. Whether to recruit natives or players was up to the Lord players. For Zhao Yi, a mere mortal, recruiting players wasn't something he'd consider anytime soon. He preferred loyalty over numbers. He closed the Points Mall and opened the address book. There weren't any friends there. He needed to add them himself or be added by others. Friends could then chat with each other. The address book wasn't useful to Zhao Yi at the moment, but it was incredibly useful for player organizations, allowing for instant messaging across vast distances, something the Origin continent's natives couldn't do. The forum was the game forum, where all Blue Star players could post and browse. Before Zhao Yi arrived, hundreds of millions of players had already been on the forum, with posts of all kinds appearing endlessly. The appearance of the forum reminded Zhao Yi of his past gaming days. Players had been on the Origin continent for over half an hour. The Lord players had arrived in their territories. A small number of combat and lifestyle players had already accepted the Lord players' recruitment, but a larger number of players had arrived in the native cities. Half an hour was enough time for the players to absorb some information. We've traveled through time, to the game world. No one can stop me. I want to become the most powerful warrior. Long live the mage. The land outside the city can't be cultivated directly. It's been infested with the aura of death. It must be purified with a purification potion or a priest purification spell before it can be cultivated. Similarly, the water outside the city can't be drunk directly. Rainwater or purified water can be used. I've signed up to join the indigenous army. If I perform great service, I might be knighted and become a lord. Among the common professions, the highest ranking is the cleric, followed by the nature mage. Clerics are the mortal enemies of the undead and can heal the wounded. Powerful clerics can also perform resurrection, bringing back those who have been dead for a short time. Nature mages can make plants grow rapidly. It's said that most of the food and wood in the city comes from nature mages. I have important information. Lord players can spend gold or magic crystals in the indigenous city to hire professionals to their territory. There were also many newly appeared recruitment posts for player organizations. But Zhao Yi simply ignored them, trying to memorize the information that would be useful to him. It turns out that the land outside the city can't be directly cultivated, and the water can't be directly drunk. The priest actually knows resurrection, and there are also nature mages. Unfortunately, my points are too few, and I can't recruit priests and nature mages for the time being. A nature mage costs 1,500 points, and a priest costs 3,000 points. When I have more points, I must recruit them. Without priests and nature mages, it's difficult to develop the territory. You can use the teleportation array to go to the nearest indigenous city, and you can spend money to hire professionals back. I feel that their loyalty is not guaranteed. If you hire a powerful professional with evil intentions, the Lord will be in danger. Zhao Yi made a decision. In the future, when he has free time, he will check the forum more often. He will definitely be able to gain a lot of general information. Such precious information should not be so easily sent out casually. He opened the system log again, but it was empty. However, there were practical tools in the tools, such as a notepad, stopwatch, alarm clock, calendar, etc. The date recorded on the calendar was quite interesting. Today was January 1st, the first year of the Hope calendar. Is the player Hope? Chapter 6: The Importance of Mathematics. Reopening the recruitment page of the points mall, personnel and supplies are crucial for developing a territory. Food, wood, stone, and metal are all common supplies, but obtaining them in large quantities is difficult for Zhao Yi's territory. Currently, the only arable land is a few blocks within Zhao village. Outside of Zhao village, there are virtually no trees, only a few dead trees. Stone is also infected with the aura of death, and metal requires prospecting before mining. All the supplies Zhao Yi needs are within Zhao village. Fortunately, he receives a few buildings at the start, so he's not completely broke. Furthermore, several households in the territory carry some food, enough for a week's needs. Putting supplies aside for now, the most important task now is recruiting soldiers to defend against the undead attacks that arrive at night. The number of undead attacks fluctuates depending on the territory's population. The larger the population, the more undead attacks there will be. Naturally, the more undead you eliminate, the more points you earn. This reminds Zhao Yi of the phrase, fighting to support the war. During the 3 days of the novice phase, the only attacking undead are skeleton swordsmen, numbering about a third of the territory's population and never exceeding the highest level of territory personnel, level 5. Zhao Yi is all too familiar with skeleton swordsmen. The enemies he faces in both the Lord and Archer classes are skeleton swordsmen. While archers might seem weak against them, they can be a formidable foe once their numbers increase. The most unique aspect of the undead is their lack of morale. Upon receiving the order to attack, They will continue to attack until all the undead are dead. The indigenous people and players, on the other hand, are living beings with morale. If casualties mount, some will inevitably flee, leading to collapse in the battle. With his experience in the Lord class, Zhao Yi plans to continue recruiting archers and shield warriors, but he needs to carefully consider the number of recruits so as not to use up all his points. Oh, right, we also need to consider housing. With only 10 residential buildings and a lack of supplies and manpower, we can't build new ones anytime soon. He tapped his head with his right index finger, a thought flashing through his mind. He quickly searched the points mall, looking for an alternative to housing, tents. There were single-person tents, multi-person tents, and extra-large tents, all priced reasonably. A multi-person tent cost 10 points, enough to house almost a whole family. Zhao Yi opened his notepad and began writing and drawing. With the same 3,000 points, you can recruit 8 archers and 4 shield warriors during the Lord's professional assessment, and spend all the points. We can't do that now. The undead will attack at night, and we must have 4 shield warriors. We need to be more stable. The number of archers can be reduced appropriately, reduce 1 or 2 archers. After all, I am also a shooter. I practice more during the day, and I can at least be considered half a shooter. Recruit another assassin and send him out to scout the situation around the territory, especially the cemetery closest to the territory. Use the remaining points to recruit farmers to increase the population of the territory and attract more undead. At the same time, you can cultivate the land in some villages and areas in the territory, such as in front of and behind the houses. The recruited residents carry a week's worth of food, but not much drinking water. This is a problem. You can choose to buy water directly from the points mall, or you can choose to find water sources around the territory and then purify it with purification potions. Zhao Yi opened the points mall to look for water and purification potions. 1 point per liter of water, and a purification potion requires 100 points. Purchasing water directly from the point store is more convenient, but it's expensive. 1 purifying potion can purify at least 1,000 liters of water, not only removing the ore of death but also pathogens. Buying a purifying potion would be more appropriate, but we don't know if there's a water source near our territory yet, so I'll save 100 points for now. Zhao Yi continued to write and draw in his notebook, calculating several times before finally determining the required recruitment numbers. 6 archers, each worth 300 points, for a total of 1,800 points. 4 shield warriors, each worth 150 points, for a total of 600 points. 1 assassin, for 200 points. 12 farmers, each worth 10 points, for a total of 120 points. The territory has 23 new families, with 5 more houses to be allocated, and 18 multi-person tents are needed, for a total of 180 points. Adding the 100 points for backup, the total comes to 3,000 points. Looking over the list, Zhao Yi felt like he'd forgotten something. After a few seconds of reflection, he remembered what he was missing. Blacksmiths primarily repair soldiers' weapons and equipment, as well as farm tools. If they have iron, they can also forge ironware. With a growing territory's population, officials are needed to manage it. Even the cheapest literate official costs 100 points to recruit. Forget it, I'll recruit tomorrow. I probably won't need a blacksmith today. If I have extra points, I'll recruit officials. Zhao Yi felt his eyes flutter as he stared at the long page of numbers and text in his notebook. The list wasn't just about using up all 3,000 points, it also took into account factors like the territory's population, territory strength, and the number of incoming undead. After recruitment, the number of households in the territory would increase to 28, with an average of at least 4 people per household, or around 120 people. The number of incoming undead would be around 40. 1 primary explosive arrow could kill a skeleton swordsman. Considering that night vision is lower than daytime, meaning the chance of hitting is lower, that's assuming 1.5 primary explosive arrows kill 1 skeleton swordsman. Recruiting 6 archers, plus Zhao Yi himself, totaled 70 primary explosive arrows, enough to eliminate 46 skeleton swordsmen. Zhao Yi believed his 3,000 points were a safe bet. Perhaps some Lord players, hoping to attract more skeleton swordsmen, would recruit more civilians, putting the territory in great danger. Zhao Yi's goal was to ensure that no civilians died, consuming only primary explosive arrows. Before the second battle, he would replenish this supply and use any remaining points on other projects. Having confirmed his 3,000 points, Zhao Yi left the Lord's mansion and approached the teleportation array, where he began recruiting soldiers and purchasing tents. Seeing Zhao Yi emerge from the mansion, Kevin and Phoebe, who hadn't finished packing their homes, hurriedly donned their armor, grabbed their swords, and ran towards him. By the time Kevin and Phoebe reached Zhao Yi, he had already purchased 18 tents, 18 green tents appearing out of thin air on the ground nearby. At the same time, the teleportation array lit up, and the recruited soldiers emerged with their families. The first person to emerge surprised Zhao Yi slightly. It was Gary, the marksman from the Lord's career assessment. "Lord, Marksman Gary reports to you again. Archer Gary, welcome back. We swear to serve you until death." Gary wasn't the only one who emerged. Warrior Daniel, along with the other marksmen and shield warriors, were all soldiers who had fought alongside Zhao Yi during the Lord's career assessment. Zhao Yi briefly questioned Gary, and he gave him a clear answer. It turned out that the Lord's career assessment was an illusion or a dream for both the Lord player and the recruited soldiers. Death during the assessment had no effect on the recruited soldiers, save for a slight fatigue upon waking. Zhao Yi even welcomed these soldiers who had fought alongside him back to join his ranks. He even increased the loyalty of all soldiers by a few points above their 80 points for the previous battles. Only the assassin Wayne, recruited from the Lord's career assessment, had never fought alongside him, so his loyalty remained at the standard 80. Chapter 7 Talent. 11 soldier families and 12 farming families emerged from the teleportation array and gathered in an open space near it. Zhao Yi gave another brief speech welcoming the arrival of the new residents. Afterward, the next step was to assign housing to the 23 families. 5 residential houses remained, and 5 with more elderly or children were selected from the 11 soldier families to move in first. The remaining families would temporarily occupy tents until new residential houses could be built after recruiting additional professionals. The large number of new residents was too much for Zhao Yi to handle alone, so he ordered Kevin and Phoebe to lead a team each. They would first determine a tent location in the open space, set down their belongings, and then come back to retrieve the tents for pitching. Tents were not to be set up randomly. Instead, 18 tents were neatly arranged around 10 residential houses. The civilians who had been living in 3 residential houses were shocked to see that among the new arrivals were professionals, referring exclusively to combat professions, and that several of their families were left without housing. 3 farmers, each head of a household, came to Zhao Yi and requested permission to let the professional live in their houses. Seeing the 3 men, their heads bowed and their bodies trembling slightly, Zhao Yi agreed. Class is truly omnipresent. Zhao Yi had no intention of changing the rules, but he made a note to build different sizes of houses for civilians, soldiers, and officials. Living in houses of different sizes was a symbol of status in place, not only on Blue Star but even more so on the Origin continent. Each household was busy, and perhaps due to the high loyalty of 80, there were no disputes among the subjects, and instead, they helped each other. With nothing else to do, Zhao Yi opened the forum to search for useful information. The world outside the city is very quiet, with almost no living creatures. Aside from the cemetery, there are no monsters. We have 3 enemies, the undead, the players, and the indigenous people. I suggest all Lord players recruit only archers when recruiting soldiers now. Don't recruit players. Don't recruit players. Don't recruit players. Zhao Yi almost laughed out loud when he saw the post "Don't recruit players." Although the points for recruiting players were low, most players lacked discipline. Perhaps players would develop discipline after a long time in the game world. It was worth trying to recruit them. Continuing to browse, Zhao Yi discovered a very important piece of information regarding the indigenous people's talent. All indigenous people will be tested for their talents when they reach a certain age to see if they have the talents corresponding to the 5 major professions. Generally, they will be employed in the profession with the highest talent. Professionals range from 0-level apprentices to 9th-level legends. Those with 1-star talents can become 1st-level professionals at the highest level. Those with 2-star talents can become 3rd-level professionals at the highest level. Those with 5-star talents can become 9th-level professionals at the highest level. Civilians among the indigenous people also have talents, which should refer to the talents of their living professions. Players don't have talents. According to the indigenous people, we are brave warriors summoned by God from another world, with our bodies reshaped by God. We have the talents of almost all professions, but we must use advanced stones to advance. The channels for obtaining advanced stones are unknown, After reading this post about talents, Zhao Yi understood the importance of talents to the indigenous people. He immediately opened the territory page to see what talents his subjects had. This glance left Zhao Yi speechless. The territory had a total of 127 citizens, the vast majority of whom possessed 1-star talents. Only 2 held 2-star talents, Archer Gary and Farmer Abel. Farmer Abel could be ignored for now. Gary, with his 2-star talent, could be focused on training in the future. After browsing the forum for nearly an hour, the citizens had almost finished cleaning up their homes. Zhao Yi turned off the screen and summoned all soldiers. Currently, the territory had 6 archers, 4 shield warriors, 2 swordsmen, and 1 assassin, for a total of 13 soldiers. With only 127 citizens, only 1 soldier in 10 was a rather high ratio. I wonder what the percentage of professionals in the indigenous cities is? With the undead menace threatening them, it's likely quite high. If possible, the indigenous people would even want everyone to become a professional soldier, but the combat effectiveness of non-professionals is low. Before the plague of the undead, most 1-star talents couldn't become professionals. Now, anyone with a 1-star talent can become a professional soldier and contribute to the fight against the undead. Zhao Yi summoned his soldiers. They had 3 tasks to perform. The most important was finding the nearest cemetery to the territory, a task Zhao Yi assigned to the assassin Wayne. Assassins are often the fastest of all classes at their level, and apprentice assassins possess a basic skill called haste, that increases their movement speed for a short period of time. The assassin was the perfect choice for locating the cemetery. The second task was finding a source of water. This task was assigned to 4 archers, each assigned to a specific direction, taking note of the surrounding terrain and reporting back to Zhao Yi. They were also advised not to stray too far from the territory. Archers were second only to assassins in speed, so without more assassins, they had no choice but to send them out. Fortunately, there were few enemies outside during the day, making the archers' chances of danger very low. Otherwise, Zhao Yi would have been reluctant to send them out. After all, with their primary explosive arrows, the archers were the territory's primary combat force. The remaining 2 archers, 4 shield warriors, and 2 swordsmen remained within the territory, responsible for guarding the territory and maintaining law and order. With the order given, the soldiers split up. Zhao Yi stopped browsing the forum and instead took his bow and arrow and searched for an open space to practice. He was also an archer, but his combat power wasn't even a third of the other archers. He hoped, through practice, to reach half the combat power of the native archers before the battle began. The players from Blue Star had arrived in the morning on the Origin continent. They familiarized themselves with the territory, recruited personnel, and practiced with their bows. Soon, it was noon, and Zhao Yi felt his stamina dwindle considerably, and he felt a pang of hunger. His personal stats didn't display things like stamina and hunger, but his flesh and blood allowed him to feel hunger just as it did in the real world. The recruited subjects all brought food, and the kitchen in the Lord's mansion also had food, white bread and dried meat, enough for Zhao Yi to eat for 10 days. There was also a small amount of water in the kitchen, just enough for Zhao Yi to drink for 2 or 3 days. The food was mediocre, and the dried meat was a bit tough. Even ordinary people in Blue Star had better food. However, Zhao Yi quickly noticed that white bread and dried meat were already considered perks for lords. Among the subjects, the only food the peasants had was black bread, which was dry and hard and could be stored for a long time without spoiling. Black bread, also known as bran bread, is made by mixing a large amount of bran, the cortex, germ, endosperm, and a small amount of endosperm, removed from the wheat during the milling process with flour. In fact, the nutritional value of this kind of black bread is higher than that of white bread, but the taste is very poor. Freshly baked black bread tastes okay, but after being left for a long time, it becomes dry and hard, and has a strange smell. It can only be eaten with soup or water. Soldiers' monthly salary is at least 30 silver, which allows them to afford better bread and occasionally meat. Under normal circumstances, the soldiers' food should be provided by the Lord, but Zhao Yi does not have much supplies. If this continues for a long time, the soldiers' loyalty will probably decline. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8 Human Heart. After lunch, Zhao Yi took a short break, browsing the forums. He rested for about half an hour before returning to practice archery. Less than an hour later, the 4 archers who had been out returned and reported on the situation around the territory. There was indeed a water source nearby, a small river, no more than 500 meters away. The territory was surrounded by vast expanses of flat land, cultivated before the undead plague, but now completely abandoned. The aura of death had killed almost all vegetation, leaving the land bare. Having found a water source, Zhao Yi immediately sprang into action. He summoned the soldiers defending the territory and went door to door, informing the residents to bring buckets and basins and fetch water from the river. The civilians of the origin continent actually collected rainwater for their daily water needs. Both land and seawater were contaminated by the aura of death. The sun could purify it to some extent, but it couldn't completely purify it. Even if the aura of death in the water was minimal, drinking too much could cause illness, even for low-level professionals. Rainwater is formed by the evaporation of water from the earth and sea by the sun. This evaporation process purifies all traces of death, so rainwater is virtually devoid of the scent of death. Commoners keep plenty of water containers ready at home. Those with extra land even dig pits in the ground to collect rainwater for daily needs. Commoners lack the money to purchase purification potions, nor do they have the luxury of purchasing purified water. Zhao Yi's territory is currently experiencing a water shortage. Some families are running low on the little water they carry with them, and rain doesn't seem likely in the immediate future. Upon learning that the Lord has instructed them to fetch water from the river and purify it with a precious purification potion, the people are moved to tears. They've never experienced anything like this before, and their respect for the Lord has deepened. If Zhao Yi were to open the stat list of his subjects, he'd see that their loyalty has increased several points. Increasing their loyalty is surprisingly easy. One purifier costs 100 points, which can purify at least 1 cubic meter of water. On average, each person in the territory receives 8 liters of water. Zhao Yi didn't distribute all the water to his subjects. The territory was short of water, and the purified water was only for drinking. Scientific research on Blue Star suggests that an adult needs approximately 2 liters of water daily. Based on this standard, he initially gave all adults 3 liters of water, with minors receiving half that amount. Then, he gave all soldiers an additional 2 liters. The water distribution barely budged the subjects' loyalty. Civilians and soldiers alike took the water distribution for granted, believing it was inevitable that civilians and soldiers would receive the same treatment. All the subjects hoped for rain soon, so the water shortage would be alleviated. Zhao Yi continued practicing archery, but as time passed, the assassin he had sent out still hadn't returned, causing him to grow increasingly frustrated. Fortunately, Wayne's name was still on the list of personnel, indicating he wasn't dying, which reassured Zhao Yi. If Wayne didn't return soon, Zhao Yi might send someone out to look for him. Mid-afternoon, a dusty Wayne finally appeared within the sight of the gatekeeper archer. The first thing Wayne did upon returning was to report his findings to Zhao Yi. "My lord, based on traces of the undead on the ground, I've discovered a cemetery 15 kilometers southwest of our territory. Time is limited, and I can't confirm if there are closer cemeteries in other directions. I understand. Thank you for your hard work. Go down and get some rest. We have a battle awaiting us tonight," assured. The assassin Wayne's reconnaissance was not successful, but Zhao Yi didn't mind. With only one assassin, he couldn't scout every direction. Besides reporting the cemetery, Wayne also reported other discoveries during his reconnaissance, including abandoned small mines and newly established territories by other lords. Due to the undead plague, the indigenous people of the origin continent retreated to their cities, fighting off the undead attacks nightly. Resources were constantly depleted and needed to be replenished. Important mineral veins would not be abandoned. Instead, cities were established and garrisons were stationed in their vicinity. Small, unimportant mineral veins were abandoned, but abandoned mines offer players the opportunity to mine mineral resources. However, these small veins can be dangerous. The mines are dark and damp, and there's a chance the undead might roam. The undead don't just confine themselves to graveyards. They fear sunlight and need to hide in dark places during the day, so mines are clearly a good place to escape the sun. As for discovering other lords' territories, that's perfectly normal. Billions of Blue Star humans have descended on the origin continent, and the number of lord players likely numbers in the hundreds of millions. For most Blue Star humans, passing the Lord class exam is difficult, but for those who play the game, it's relatively easy. With hundreds of millions of Lord players scattered across the origin continent, its vast size doesn't allow for great distances between them. It's impossible to walk for days without finding another Lord player's territory. Although a fellow Blue Star human, Zhao Yi remains wary of other Lord players and will refrain from proactively approaching them. If there are numerous assassins, he'll even send assassins to keep watch. As one forum post explained, players face three enemies: the undead, players, and the natives. Don't trust anyone easily, not even family or friends. Even the closest people could betray you if the stakes are high enough. This has happened countless times on Blue Star. Although Zhao Yi hasn't experienced it himself, he's read countless online rumors about it. The people of Blue Star are even more complex and fickle than the natives of the origin continent. Therefore, Zhao Yi would rather spend more points recruiting natives than recruiting cheaper Blue Star players. Judging from forum posts, many Lord players have already regretted recruiting other players into their territories. This is a game, but it's more than just a game. Everyone has only one life, and Zhao Yi wants to survive longer in this game and reach higher levels. This way, upon returning to Blue Star, he can gain more longevity, youth, and a healthy life, the things everyone desires. Beyond that, he simply enjoys the game. It's a game, but it's also a second life, so different from his first. Dying easily would be unbearable. Therefore, Zhao Yi must be cautious and stay alive longer in the game world. Archery practice continued, slowly increasing the archer's experience. In the game world, experience isn't just gained from killing monsters, it can also be gained from training, sparring, and other activities related to the profession. Time slowly slipped by, the sun was about to set, and the sky was growing darker. Zhao Yi stopped practicing, needing to rest, eat, and recover his strength in preparation for the battle that evening. Chapter 9, First Night. Night fell. Due to lack of fuel, Zhao Village was completely dark, save for a single fire burning in an open space in the center. Because the assassin had only discovered the cemetery southwest of the territory, there was no way to determine if there were any closer graveyards elsewhere. Zhao Yi needed to make more preparations. Archers generally have the best eyesight of all classes. Even in the pitch black of night, their night vision is excellent, making it impossible for them to detect an enemy only after they approach. Furthermore, in the darkness, undead or skeletons are more easily detected. Skeletons are composed entirely of bones, but they burn with soul fire in their eyes. This soul fire is slightly dimmer than normal flames, but it stands out in the darkness. This soul fire also makes it easy to determine whether an attacked skeleton is dead or alive. Its extinguishment signifies its final death. The 3-day beginner's period significantly reduces the difficulty for Blue Star players newly arriving on the origin continent. While this period allows them to acclimate to the game world, they face a more demanding test 3 days later. Zhao Yi dispersed 6 archers around Zhao Village to observe the situation. The flat terrain outside the village made it easier to spot the incoming skeleton swordsman. The assassin and 2 swordsmen were also dispersed outside the village. Zhao Yi himself led 4 shield warriors in the open space in the center of the village. Once the enemy's presence was detected, the soldiers quickly called out, and the archers and shield warriors would quickly converge in the direction of the enemy's presence. The assassin and 2 swordsmen continued to maintain vigilance in the other 3 directions of Zhao Village. Zhao Yi learned from the soldiers that territories with large populations face undead attacks from multiple cemeteries, while territories with smaller populations typically only receive attacks from the nearest cemetery. He assumed that the ordinary Zhao Village wouldn't be specifically targeted by the undead, but he remained somewhat concerned and decided to deploy secondary forces to other areas for vigilance. The archers were the main force, and Zhao Yi hoped they would use their primary explosive arrows to eliminate all incoming skeleton swordsmen at medium and long range. If the skeleton swordsman can't be eliminated at mid-range or long range, and the skeleton swordsman can't be brought into close combat, shield warriors will need to lead the charge. Archers won't need to engage the skeleton swordsman with short swords. Today is the first day in their new home. High loyalty, coupled with a strong desire to protect their home, has the farmers in the territory picking up their tools and eager to join the fight. But Zhao Yi persuades them to return home. The farmers aren't professionals, and their combat effectiveness is extremely low. Several farmers can't even defeat a single skeleton swordsman. Furthermore, Night blindness is common among the civilians of the origin continent, rendering them practically blind at night. Zhao Yi doesn't dare use the farmers in battle. The farmers, returning home, have no desire to sleep. Their farm tools are at hand, ready to protect their families if their lord fails to defeat the undead and is overrun by them. As time passes, Zhao Yi's heart grows heavier. He opens the forum and discovers that some player territories have already begun fighting the undead, while a few have already concluded the battle, either successfully or unsuccessfully. There were even lord players who posted about their complete victory over the attacking enemy without harming a single lord. There were also cases where a lord player's territory was breached by the undead, and the lord escaped to the indigenous city via a teleportation array, whereupon their lord status was revoked. It wasn't because they traveled to the indigenous city that their lordship was revoked, but rather because their territory was breached by the undead. To become a lord again, one must perform great service to the indigenous nation and be rewarded with a title and territory. There were also lord players who were killed by the undead, returning to Blue Star without even having time to post a message. There were even lord players who escaped back to the indigenous city and cursed the combat class players they had recruited, saying they disobeyed orders during battle and fled in fear when a skeleton swordsman approached. It's unknown how these combat class players passed the combat class assessment. It's important to note that, except for the priest, the professional assessments for the other 4 major classes all require the elimination of skeleton swordsmen. After this night, I wonder how many players will return to Blue Star. Zhao Yi sighed, and stopped looking at the forum. He clutched his bamboo bow and waited quietly. Half an hour, an hour and a half. Just as the 3rd hour was about to begin, the archers southwest of Zhao village suddenly shouted, discovering enemy activity. The territory was relatively open, so the sound carried far. Other soldiers who heard the shouts followed suit, adding the direction of the undead's attack. Shouting, the archers ran southwest of Zhao village, and Zhao Yi, along with 4 shield warriors, followed suit. Once the 6 archers and 4 shield warriors had joined forces, Zhao Yi commanded 10 soldiers to scale the wall, preparing to engage the incoming undead from outside. The wall of Zhao village was only 1.5 meters high, and if the archers stood behind it, it would obscure their attack range. The wall also played a role in the shield fight, but crucially, it didn't move. If the skeleton swordsmen got close, they might push it down, circumvent it, or even scale it. With so many variables, it was better to engage the skeleton swordsmen directly outside the wall. Zhao Yi had made extensive preparations for the incoming skeleton swordsmen. He had calculated the territory's population, the number of incoming skeleton swordsmen, and the number of primary explosive arrows. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, Zhao Yi and his 10 soldiers could eliminate all the incoming skeleton swordsmen without a single casualty. Given this, Zhao Yi simply ignored the obstruction of the wall and engaged the skeleton swordsmen outside. After scaling the wall, 4 shield warriors led the way, followed by Zhao Yi and 6 archers, forming 2 rows. Their expressions were solemn as they gazed at the marching column of skeleton swordsmen 100 meters away, dancing like a flock of fireflies in midair. During the first night battle, Zhao Yi led 6 archers in a test firing. At a distance of about 100 meters, 7 arrows flew out, 4 hitting their mark, and 3 missing, including the one Zhao Yi fired. Facing the barrage of arrows, the skeleton swordsmen continued their orderly advance. Ready explosive arrows. When the skeleton swordsmen were only 60 meters from their formation, Zhao Yi and the 6 archers had already knocked their bows with explosive arrows. Use rapid fire, alternating between odd and even numbers. Shoot the odd numbers. As Zhao Yi finished speaking, archers numbered 1, 3, and 5, including Gary, unleashed 3 primary explosive arrows. The next moment, the 3 primary explosive arrows collided head-on with the 3 skeleton swordsmen, erupting in 3 balls of fire. 2 of the 3 skeleton swordsmen were killed, and 1 was injured. Just as the skeleton swordsmen, overcome by the death of their comrades, were about to charge the living formation, 3 primary explosive arrows from archers number 2, 4, and 6 were already under attack. Although 1 arrow missed, the 2 that hit the target completely eliminated the 2 skeleton arrows. As one wave ended, another arrived, with the odd-numbered and even-numbered archers alternating between firing primary explosive arrows at the incoming skeleton swordsmen. Skeleton swordsmen continued to fall amidst the flashes of fire and explosions. Only when over 20 skeleton swordsmen entered the 30-meter range did Zhao Yi, adhering to the principle of not wasting primary explosive arrows, begin to join the fray. 30 meters was enough for Zhao Yi to hit the skeleton swordsman with every arrow. The skeleton swordsmen continued to close in, their numbers steadily decreasing. The skeleton swordsmen, lacking much intelligence, had a single purpose in their souls, to kill all living things. Without legs, they crawled with their hands, without hands either, they moved like snakes. After eliminating the last skeleton swordsman, who had already rushed within 8 meters, Zhao Yi and the soldiers breathed a sigh of relief. 5 more skeleton swordsmen would have led to close combat. 10 more would have made casualties difficult to avoid. Dozens more would have meant either a thrashing or a crushing defeat. We won, and Chapter 10, After the War. Cheers of victory spread throughout the village, finally bringing relief to the anxious citizens. The victory in the first battle reassured the people, boosting their loyalty. For all the civilians of the origin continent, their hopes were simple: a safe place to live, clothes to wear, and food to eat. That was all they needed. Outside the village, the cheers had died down. The battle wasn't over yet, and the skeleton swordsmen weren't completely dead. Broken remains of them lay on the ground, struggling to crawl towards them. The broken skeleton swordsmen were significantly weakened, so Zhao Yi decided not to waste his explosive arrows and instead engaged his shield, which was largely covered in steel. Only after all the soul fires on the battlefield were extinguished did Zhao Yi and his 10 soldiers return to the walls. Cleaning the battlefield would be done tomorrow afternoon, allowing the sunlight to purify the undead's possessions. Returning to the walls didn't mean the battle was completely over. While the forums hadn't yet reported a second wave of undead attacks after one, it was always better to be cautious. Aside from the guards, the rest of the troops rested on the spot. The territory was still short of soldiers, so they couldn't rotate shifts, so they had to wait until daylight to rest properly. Before resting, Zhao Yi had the archers count their explosive arrows. In less than a minute, the tally came back: 7 archers had 70 primary explosive arrows. 53 had been used in battle, leaving 17 remaining, an average of less than 3 per archer. As Zhao Yi sat down to rest, he called up the system dashboard and glanced at the points store. The points column had gone from 0 to 560. Not bad, no loss. A primary explosive arrow costs 10 points in the point store, so a single battle cost 530 points, leaving a net profit of 30. While it was a net profit, how could he develop his territory with a net profit of 30 points? After replenishing his primary explosive arrows, he could only recruit 1 blacksmith. Fortunately, Zhao Yi frequently browsed the forums, where he gained a lot of general information, and understood that buying primary explosive arrows from the point store was a significant loss. In the native city, a basic explosive arrow costs only about 5 gold, while in the points mall, 1 point can be exchanged for 1 gold coin. Instead of using points to buy basic explosive arrows, it's better to first use points to buy gold coins, then use the gold coins to teleport to the native city to purchase basic explosive arrows. However, using the teleportation array requires magic crystals. Within the territory, a teleportation array capable of transporting up to 5 adults at a time requires 1 low-grade magic crystal per use. This is at cost. In native city, a teleportation array of the same size typically requires 3 low-grade magic crystals, or 4 for a round trip. In the points mall, 1 low-grade magic crystal costs 100 points, but in native city, 1 low-grade magic crystal can be exchanged for around 10 gold coins, meaning it would take over 10 gold coins to buy one. No matter how you look at it, purchasing items from the points mall is a complete waste of money. Zhao Yi feels that his points will primarily be used for recruiting personnel. The small treasury still contained 100 gold coins and 10 low-grade magic crystals. Both money and magic crystals were extremely important to Zhao Yi, and his soldiers' monthly salaries were at least 30 silver. Without gold, even if their initial loyalty was high, it would inevitably decline if their salaries were delayed. The longer the delay, the greater the drop in loyalty. Currently, there was no way to earn gold. The territory was completely destitute, with no local specialties to sell, a truly daunting problem. As a last resort, he could only exchange points for gold and then purchase basic explosive arrows from the indigenous cities. The best thing about purchasing items from the points mall was fast delivery. Clicking on the purchase, the item was teleported to him within seconds, making it a great emergency resource. Using points to buy a tent was definitely a waste. As for whether it would be more economical to use points to buy a purification potion for drinking water or to purchase water from the indigenous cities, Zhao Yi couldn't decide. He put the purchase of basic explosive arrows on hold and continued browsing the system dashboard, opening the Personal, Territory, and System Logs pages. Personal, Name, Zhao Yi, Lifespan, 24/85, Occupation, 3rd Class Baron Level 0 Archer, 35%, Attributes, Strength 7, Constitution 7, Agility 7, Wisdom 6, Free Attribute Points, 0, Charm, 7, Leadership, 13/42, Active Skill, Rapid Fire, Primary 1%, Legion Skill, every arrow hits the target, Primary 0.2%, Equipment, Omitted, Territory, 3rd Class Baron Territory, Lord, Zhao Yi, Territory Area, 5 square kilometers, Organization, Zhao Village, a 3rd-level village, covering an area of 10,000 square meters, Population, 128/300, Troops, 13, Public Sentiment, 87, Public Security, 99, Buildings, Lord's Mansion, Teleportation Array, Residential Houses, Walls. After a battle, Zhao Yi found that his archer career experience and the proficiency of his 2 skills had improved to a certain extent. Not only did his own marksman class experience increase, but the class experience of his soldiers also increased to varying degrees. The 2 swordsmen who hadn't participated in the battle saw the least increase, followed by the assassins who had performed reconnaissance missions. The marksman had the most experience. The 2-star marksman Gary, with his talent, saw the most experience increase and had already leveled up, now a level 1 marksman, 4%. Each level increase must have significantly increased his strength, but unfortunately, the specific attributes were not visible. On the System Log page, Zhao Yi observed the course of the battle through the system records. A total of 43 skeleton swordsmen attacked. 28 at level 0, 8 at level 1, 4 at level 2, 2 at level 3, and 1 at level 4. Killing a level 0 undead earns 10 points, a level 1 at 15, a level 2 at 20, a level 3 at 25, and a level 4 at 30, for a total of 560 points, as indicated in the points column. Zhao Yi himself killed 3 skeleton swordsmen, 2 at level 0 and 1 at level 1. Archer Gary had killed the most skeleton swordsmen, 7 in total. No wonder he was the first soldier to be upgraded. Closing his eyes and thinking for a while, Zhao Yi stopped thinking until his head ached. He then opened the forum to check out the posts from other players. My territory is ruined. It took more than half of us dead or wounded to wipe out all the undead. We definitely won't survive another night. MDZZ, the players who recruited me were foolish. The entire territory has a large population, but few combat class players. We were directly overwhelmed by the swarm of undead. Luckily, I had the foresight to grab my parents and run away first. I don't plan to accept any more players. The battle in the indigenous city was thrilling. The city was surrounded by several layers of undead. It felt like there was no end to the undead. This battle taught me a lesson. From now on, when I recruit combat class players, I'll only recruit soldiers or veterans. My territory easily wiped out all the incoming undead. I welcome my fellow blue stars to join my territory. The forum is full of nonsense posts, but also some posts with valuable insights, such as combat experience. Currently, the majority of Lord players recruit archers, and Zhao Yi does the same, but some also use other methods to eliminate the enemy. For example, buying fuel, spell scrolls, alchemy items, etc. from the points mall was a method many Lord players used to eliminate all incoming undead without many casualties. This was also a way out. Zhao Yi planned to take some time to look at the points mall more. Some useful items could be purchased in the native cities. Chapter 11 Opening the Treasure Chest. It was late at night, and no second wave of undead had appeared. Dawn was still far away, and accidents could happen at any moment, so vigilance was paramount. Zhao Yi divided the 13 soldiers into 2 shifts, alternating night watches. Soldiers not on duty were not allowed to go home and rest where they were. Most of the origin continent enjoyed spring-like weather year-round, so resting in place wasn't a problem. Zhao Yi himself joined the night watch. Staying up late was a fundamental skill for the people of Blue Star. Back there, they rarely slept before dawn. This depended on having a mobile phone, but there were no phones in the game world, so he scraped by browsing the forums. He continued browsing until late at night, feeling overwhelmed with sleep, and finally closed his eyes for rest. After an unsettling moment, the darkness began to fade, and the sky began to turn pale. Zhao Yi, still restless, sensed a change in the sky and quickly woke up. As the first rays of sunlight shone directly onto Zhao Yi's territory, a light screen materialized, revealing a battle results page. You destroyed 43 undead, you suffered 0 casualties, an excellent battle. Battle rating, D, points increased by 40%, professional experience increased by 40%, received a silver treasure chest. A silver-white treasure chest popped up on the screen. Zhao Yi clicked it, and it opened. 16 cards popped out, arranged in 4 rows and 4 columns on the screen. At the bottom of the screen, a line read, "You can turn over 4 cards." Seeing this, Zhao Yi felt a sense of familiarity. This battle settlement seemed similar to a game on Blue Star, with battle ratings and card flipping. I wonder what's on the cards. I hope I'll be lucky and find something good. Zhao Yi carefully examined each card on the screen, trying to find something unique on the back. Just as Zhao Yi focused his attention on the back of a card, something unexpected happened. 1 gold coin. Is this what's on the card? How can I see the contents of a card I haven't turned over? As Zhao Yi's mind wandered, his attention lost, and the contents on the card vanished again. However, after just a few minutes of experimentation, Zhao Yi figured out how to see through the cards. It was simple. Focus. Bug? Is it just me, or do all players do the same? Because of the battle settlement, Zhao Yi couldn't access the forum for the time being. Then I'll pick 4 cards first. Okay, pick the ones with the highest value. Zhao Yi then spent 3 minutes reading through all 16 cards. Understanding the contents of the 16 cards left Zhao Yi speechless. At least a third of the 16 cards contained basic supplies like food, wood, and metal, with the better ones containing gold coins and magic crystals. Furthermore, the front of the cards had borders in a variety of colors, primarily brown, black, cyan, and silver. The varying card colors reminded Zhao Yi of a certain game setting: common, iron, bronze, silver. Perhaps there would be gold, diamond, or something like that later on? Even the letter D appeared in the battle summary section. This was probably due to the game world translating it to Blue Star players. Zhao Yi was able to adapt quite well. Of the 16 cards, there were only 2 silver cards, 3 bronze cards, 5 iron cards, and 6 common cards. The 2 silver cards each contained 10 low-grade magic crystals and 100 cubic meters of wood. The 3 bronze cards each contained a priest recruitment scroll, a bronze rank longsword, and 100 kilograms of white bread. The 5 iron cards each contained a lancer recruitment scroll, 1 gold coin, 1 kilogram of 5 vegetable seeds, an antidote, and 100 kilograms of coal. The 6 common cards each contained 20 ordinary arrows, an ordinary iron dagger, 10 silver coins, 1 kilogram of iron, 10 kilograms of black bread, and 1 kilogram of rat meat. Zhao Yi simply ignored the 6 common cards, believing them to be too low in value. The most valuable item was the priest recruitment scroll, which required 3,000 points in the point store to recruit a priest. It's interesting that silver cards aren't as valuable as bronze cards. Next up are the lancer recruitment scroll and 10 low-grade magic crystals. While a low-grade magic crystal costs 100 points in the point store, it can be purchased for just a dozen gold coins in the native city. The 4th card is a tough choice. Given the situation on the origin continent, wood is quite valuable, and commoners simply don't use it as fuel, relying instead on cheap coal. Zhao Yi's territory is short on wood. He doesn't use it to build houses, which would be too extravagant. He can use it to craft furniture, farm tools, and even ordinary arrows. Zhao Yi couldn't determine the value of 100 cubic meters of wood in a bronze tier longsword. Even if he wanted the longsword, he wouldn't use it himself. Instead, he would sell it to players or natives in exchange for gold or magic crystals to purchase other supplies. He quickly decided to go for the longsword and wait for the wood. He wanted to maximize his territory's strength during the 3-day novice period. After making his decision, Zhao Yi flipped over the card representing 10 low-grade magic crystals. As expected, the card flipped face up, revealing 10 low-grade magic crystals. He then selected the priest recruitment scroll, the bronze longsword, and the lancer recruitment scroll, all without error. This bug is even worse than those lucky idiots. Lucky idiots are just a bit luckier, with a higher chance of picking up good items than average people. My bug lets me pick out all the best items from the treasure chest. After selecting 4 cards, the battle results page disappeared, and the screen returned to the desktop, where the card pack option appeared. Clicking on the card pack revealed the 4 cards, arranged in order. Clicking on a card activated it. Zhao Yi didn't rush to use the cards, but instead looked at the personal and point store tabs. His archer class experience had increased from 35% at level 0 to 49%, almost reaching the halfway mark. Perhaps after the next battle, he could reach level 1. The 560 points earned from destroying the undead also increased to 784. With nearly 800 points in hand, it seemed possible to recruit 2 more archers. Zhao Yi opened the forum and quickly browsed through it, but found no content related to the bug. Clearly, this bug wasn't a common occurrence. If it were, someone would surely brag about it on the forum. If possible, Zhao Yi would rather hope that this was a bug specific to him, and that the game world would fix it later. Maybe it's not a bug, but a unique talent, Zhao Yi imagined. Putting aside the bug, Zhao Yi focused on browsing posts related to battle settlements. Whether it was a Lord player, a combat class player, or a life class player, at dawn, a battle settlement page appeared, where a treasure chest was awarded. The highest battle rating on the forum was D, and quite a few Lord players achieved this rating. Simply by destroying the incoming undead without causing any casualties, they could achieve a D rating. However, this wasn't always the case. Some Lord players, despite destroying the undead without causing any casualties, only received an E rating. Other players attributed this to the low number of incoming undead. If there were more attacking undead, and if they were able to destroy them all without a single casualty, their rating might rise above D. Currently, players have combat ratings of D, E, F, and GG is supposedly the lowest rating. Any lower, and the player has already died and returned to Blue Planet. Life profession players generally have a G combat rating, with only a very small number receiving an F. Combat profession players generally have an F or G rating, with a very small number receiving an E. An F generally means participating in a battle and killing at least one undead, while a G means not killing a single undead. Treasure chests opened with various items, but one caught Zhao Yi's attention, the advancement stone. According to the player who opened the advancement stone, once a player reaches level 9, 100%, using the level 1 advancement stone, allows them to advance to level 10. Some less talented natives can also use the level 1 advancement stone, at level 9, 100%. However, in treasure chests, level 1 advancement stones are extremely rare, perhaps only 1 in 10,000. There are only a handful of players who have opened a level 2 advanced stone. I wonder if anyone has opened a level 3 advanced stone. Chapter 12 Skill Books and Inheritance Stones. Because of the treasure chest opening, the forum was flooded with posts from both unlucky and wealthy individuals. There was no point wasting time browsing these worthless posts, so Zhao Yi closed the forum and opened Notepad. First, he wrote down his current currency. 784 points, 20 low-grade magic crystals, 100 gold coins, and a bronze tier longsword that he could sell for currency. Supplies he needed to purchase. 53 primary explosive arrows and an unspecified number of tents. Personnel he needed to recruit, archers, blacksmiths, and management personnel. Recruiting a blacksmith required 20 points, a low-level official required 100 points, and 2 archers required 600 points. This left 64 points for 3 farmers and 3 miners. He began recruiting miners now, primarily to prepare for future mining. Recruiting a literate low-level official was essential for the territory. The territory already had 127 people, and with another wave of recruitment, the population would reach around 180. Without management, the growing population would lead to chaos in the territory, and Zhao Yi couldn't manage it alone, nor was he a professional administrator. The professionals were soldiers, at most responsible for maintaining order and unable to participate in administrative work. Recruiting a low-level official and selecting a few clever individuals from among the subjects would be enough to manage the territory. As the population grew, more officials would be needed. With the addition of a priest and a spearman, the territory would need 12 additional families, requiring the purchase of 11 tents. Zhao Yi planned to temporarily house his beloved priest in the Lord's mansion until the new residential buildings were completed and he could move the priest. A level 0 priest only knew the heal skill, which, as the name suggests, could only heal minor injuries. Compared to the heal skill, Zhao Yi preferred the priest to learn the cleanse skill. The cleanse skill could purify water, soil, and even damage undead, though its range was limited. Apprentice priests could also learn the cleanse skill, which was available in the point store for a very high price. A purification skill book requires 1,000 points, while a purification inheritance stone requires 10,000 points. The difference between a skilled book and an inheritance stone is that a skilled book grants the skill immediately upon tapping, making it a one-time item. An inheritance stone is a reusable item. Even the weakest inheritance stone can be used 100 times. However, a single use of an inheritance stone does not guarantee the skilled book's immediate acquisition. Several days must pass between consecutive uses. It's said that some priests used inheritance stones over 10 times before learning purification. Zhao Yi didn't have 1,000 points, and even if he did, he wouldn't be willing to spend on the purification skill book. He could visit the indigenous cities and purchase purification with the gold or magic crystals. In the indigenous cities, a primary explosive arrow costs 5 gold, a waterproof multi-person tent costs 3 gold, and 53 primary explosive arrows plus 11 tents cost 298 gold. Zhao Yi only had 100 gold and 20 low-grade magic crystals, which could be exchanged for 200 gold, for a total of 300 gold. However, traveling to the indigenous city requires a teleportation array. You only need to pay the cost of the teleportation array yourself, which costs 1 low-grade magic crystal. Returning. Using the indigenous city's teleportation array will cost at least 3 low-grade magic crystals. If money isn't enough, it depends on what price the bronze tea or longsword fetches in the indigenous city. According to posts on the forum, the most expensive armor among ordinary equipment costs around 10 gold. The worst black iron equipment costs 1 low-grade magic crystal, and the best black iron equipment can cost over 10 low-grade magic crystals. The worst bronze equipment costs 10 low-grade magic crystals, and the best bronze equipment can exceed 100 low-grade magic crystals. Zhao Yi couldn't judge the quality and performance of his longsword, but at worst, it could fetch 10 low-grade magic crystals, which was enough. I hope I can save some money to buy a purification skill book. After breakfast, Zhao Yi used a card to obtain a priest recruitment scroll. He used it, and soon the teleportation array lit up, revealing Eric, a level 0 priest, and his family. Priest Eric, reporting to the Lord. Eric, welcome aboard. I swear to serve the Lord until death. Eric, the territory is in ruins and lacks adequate housing. You and your family will reside in the Lord's mansion for now, and move into the new one once it's built. Lord, it's an honor to be able to live here. Eric and his family had high loyalty levels due to their temporary stay. As they approached the mansion, Zhao Yi asked Eric about his skills. Eric, how much does a purification skill book cost? Eric's eyes lit up at the Lord's question, and he became excited. The Lord's question clearly meant he was getting him a purification skill book. My lord, a purification skill book costs 500 gold. If I use the purification inheritance stone, I think I can learn it in 5 attempts at most, at only 50 gold each time. Although his talent was only 1 star, Eric was confident in himself. Only the unlucky would use it so many times. Zhao Yi nodded, indicating that he understood. Leaving Eric and his family at the city lord's mansion, Zhao Yi gathered all his gold coins and low-grade magic crystals and gathered 2 swordsmen and 2 shield warriors to head for the teleportation array. The territory's teleportation array can transport up to 5 adults at a time, and he summoned 4 warriors as bodyguards. Furthermore, warriors have the highest strength of the 5 classes, and since they can purchase a lot of things, the 4 warriors can act as porters, eliminating the need for the shield warriors to carry their shields. The territory's teleportation array directly connects to Rhoda City, the largest city and capital of Rhoda Province, where the territory is located. After consuming a low-grade magic crystal, the teleportation array illuminated, and Zhao Yi and the 4 warriors entered. In less than 3 seconds, Zhao Yi's vision went dark and bright before he appeared in the teleportation array of Rhoda City, feeling a little unwell. Everyone in the teleportation array, get out quickly. New people will be teleporting in soon. Don't delay. The guard next to the teleportation array saw that Zhao Yi and his group were dressed in ordinary clothes and had little strength, so he spoke in a stern tone. Zhao Yi didn't care and led the 4 soldiers out of the teleportation array. Looking at the scene outside the teleportation array, Zhao Yi was a little confused. Anyone who comes to an unfamiliar place for the first time will be confused. Has anyone of you been to Rhoda City? Zhao Yi asked the 4 soldiers around him. No, None of the soldiers had been to Rhoda City. It seemed that Zhao Yi needed a guide. Before Zhao Yi could look for a guide, someone came over and offered himself. "Sir, is this your first time in Rhoda City? Where would you like to go? I'll show you the way, sir. I've lived in Rhoda City my entire life. I know the famous and the obscure." Several people crowded in front of Zhao Yi, respectfully introducing themselves. There were no players among them. Players had only been on the origin continent so recently that a single day wouldn't be enough to familiarize themselves with the vastness of Rhoda City. However, as time passed, players would inevitably compete with the natives for this niche. Zhao Yi randomly selected an honest-looking young man, and the 6 of them left the teleportation array. Chapter 13 Market. "Let's go to the market first," Zhao Yi said to the guide. "Sir, the market is very close, only half an hour away. Please go this way." Led by the guide, the group headed towards the market. The markets on the origin continent are no simple markets. Everything on the origin continent can be purchased in the Points Mall. To put it bluntly, the same can be done in the market, except the currency used is gold and magic crystals. Zhao Yi learned about the markets from the forums. Almost every city on the origin continent has a market. These markets have small teleportation arrays, but they can't transport large items, only smaller ones. They have special box-shaped storage units that can hold even large quantities of supplies. In the market, one can trade with people from across the origin continent and purchase goods from all over the continent. Some lucky players have even found a special building called the market in their treasure chests. While it's only a rudimentary market, limited to trading within the province, it makes shopping much more convenient for players. The guide led the way, chatting non-stop as he introduced Zhao Yi to Rhoda City. Rhoda City is the only large city in Rhoda Province and one of the largest in the Violet Kingdom. It covers an area of over 20 square kilometers. Before the undead plague, its population was only a few 100,000, but now it has surpassed 1 million, with an army of over 100,000. The city was practically packed, with numerous players mingling among them. Blue Star players and indigenous civilians have different auras, and it's easy to tell them apart by their demeanor. Players are more confident, walking with their chests held high and their heads held high, and often looking around, while indigenous civilians tend to be more dazed. Looking around, one can see that Rhoda City's buildings are generally 2 or more stories high, with 2- and 3-story structures predominantly constructed from brick and stone, with few wooden structures. It has a touch of the medieval feel of Blue Star Europe. Like all cities on the origin continent, Rhoda City is well landscaped, with vegetation everywhere, primarily trees and crops, growing in front of and behind houses, on rooftops, and along the roadsides. It's almost impossible to find vacant land within Rhoda. Any vacant plot of land is quickly filled. This is unavoidable. With the undead occupying the city's periphery and the indigenous inhabitants trapped within, they're forced to utilize every acreage within. Fortunately, there's the nature mage profession, whose spells can accelerate plant growth. Thanks to their efforts, the limited land yields barely enough food to feed the population, making starvation inevitable in most cities. After walking for nearly half an hour, they arrived at the market. It was a sprawling 3-story building, luxuriously decorated both inside and out. It was said that a magic circle protected the market from powerful attackers. After paying a 1 gold entrance fee, Zhao Yi entered the market on his own. 4 warriors and a guide waited outside, but Zhao Yi didn't have the gold to pay them. The 1 gold entrance fee also deterred most people from even considering the market. The layout inside the market resembled a Blue Star internet cafe, with each person occupying a roughly 4 square meter room. The main feature was an alchemical display screen, similar in function to a player's light screen. Users can enter names on the screen to find the items they need. Purchases are calculated based on the distance between the buyer and seller, with the buyer paying the shipping fee and the seller paying a commission. Zhao Yi tried to enter basic explosive arrows, but the screen froze, and then a large number of listings for basic explosive arrows appeared, along with images of various types. The cheapest was 38 gold for 10 arrows, but Zhao Yi had no intention of buying any. This involved an international transaction, and shipping would be prohibitively expensive, with additional customs duties. It wasn't worth it. There were shops in Rhoda City selling basic explosive arrows for 5 gold each. Buying those wouldn't be a big loss. The items displayed on the screen ranged from fixed-price items to scheduled auctions. Zhao Yi planned to auction his bronze tier longsword. He had no intention of selling directly in Rhoda City. Some shops charged low prices and sold high, often ripping people off. Even with Zhao Yi's status as a lord and a divinely summoned warrior from another world, he was still being ripped off. The forums were filled with posts about players being ripped off by the natives. It would be better to auction directly in the market. Using a card, he summoned a bronze-tier longsword. While not flashy, its attributes were practical, increasing sharpness and attack speed. It was far superior to the equipment Zhao Yi and his men possessed. This was a swordsman's longsword, and Zhao Yi, a marksman, had no choice but to sell it for funds. He took the longsword to the market, seeking an official appraiser. He paid 1 gold to have it appraised, and it was officially certified when it was entered into the auction system. Zhao Yi wouldn't be staying in Rhoda for long, so he set the auction time to 1 hour, with a starting price of 10 low-grade magic crystals, and increments of at least 1 low-grade magic crystal each time. He didn't intend to take the longsword out of the market, so he entrusted it to the market for safekeeping for an additional 1 gold. After the auction, the market staff would complete the transaction, and Zhao Yi could return with his receipt to collect the proceeds. After leaving the market, guided by a guide, Zhao Yi spent all his magic crystals, leaving only a few gold coins. He then bought 53 primary explosive arrows and 11 tents. Originally, the remaining gold coins and magic crystals weren't enough to buy these supplies. A few gold coins were still needed, so the young guide volunteered to negotiate the price with the merchant. Zhao Yi also used some magic crystals to directly replace the gold coins, which resulted in a discount. Zhao Yi tipped the guide 1 gold coin for this, leaving him speechless and practically on his knees in gratitude. This single gold coin would cover the guide's family's food needs for the next year. The 6 of them, all carrying their supplies, returned to the market an hour and a half later. Zhao Yi, armed with his ticket, entered the market, freeing himself from the 1 gold entrance fee. The bronze-grade longsword auction had concluded, fetching a whopping 87 low-grade magic crystals. The market took a 10% commission, leaving Zhao Yi with 78 magic crystals and 3 gold coins. The longsword is the weapon of the swordsman, perhaps the most numerous of all professions. The sheer number of people and the resulting competition meant that their equipment was relatively expensive. This was why Zhao Yi, despite setting the auction time for an hour, was able to achieve a price close to that of an ordinary equipment store. Next, Zhao Yi searched the market trading system to purchase the purification skill book. He stumbled upon someone selling it in the Rhoda City market, priced at 510 gold. After a face-to-face meeting, Zhao Yi paid 50 low-grade magic crystals for the book. Zhao Yi didn't have to pay for travel, but since the transaction was being conducted in the market, the seller had to pay a 10% commission. Even if the seller said the price was lower outside the market, Zhao Yi wouldn't leave. Trading inside the market was guaranteed by the market and wouldn't go wrong. Outside, there was always the possibility of problems. Zhao Yi was too weak, after all. Even in the game world, on the Origin continent, power reigned supreme. With 28 low-grade magic crystals remaining, Zhao Yi considered buying some alchemical items as a backup, but decided against it. 28 low-grade magic crystals wouldn't buy anything good, so he decided to wait until next time. However, on his way to the teleportation array after leaving the market, Zhao Yi bought 50 kilograms of cooked pork to feed his soldiers back in the territory. Arriving at the Rhoda City teleportation array, they paid 3 low-grade magic crystals. The 5 of them, carrying all their supplies on their backs, stepped into the teleportation array. One dark, one bright, they appeared in the Zhao village teleportation array. They left with 100 gold coins, 20 low-grade magic crystals, and a bronze-tier longsword. When they returned, they only had 25 low-grade magic crystals left. Developing a territory is so difficult. I wonder what the situation is like for other players' territories. Chapter 14 Village Chief Cece. Welcome back, Lord. Priest Eric was already waiting outside the teleportation array, his face brimming with anticipation. Zhao Yi didn't disappoint Eric, handing him a purification skill book. Eric swears to serve the Lord till death. Eric excitedly swore to Zhao Yi as he took the skilled book with both hands. He gently stroked the pristine-looking book a few times, as if caressing the delicate body of a beautiful woman, before reluctantly opening it. The next moment, the skilled book vanished in a flash of white light, and Eric immediately learned purification. Just as Eric was about to test his first purification, Zhao Yi stopped him. Wait a minute, Eric. The residents of the territory are short of water right now. Wait until they return from the river to fetch water, Then you can use purification, as you command. Eric was only a level 0 priest, with only enough mana to cast about 3 purifications. Once his mana ran out, he would need to meditate to recover. It takes almost half a day of meditation to restore mana from depletion. Water is crucial to the territory, and Eric's mana is consequently crucial. Having already placed all the supplies he carried on his back on the open space outside the teleportation array, Zhao Yi didn't leave and immediately began recruiting personnel. He started by recruiting a manager. A literate person with a talent for management would be recruited using 100 points. Within seconds, the teleportation array lit up, and a family of 5 appeared. Zhao Yi opened the territory page to view his recruited manager. Name, CC, gender, male, age, 25, occupation, low-level official level 0 swordsman, talent, 2-star management / 1-star swordsman, skill, heavy attack, loyalty, 80, salary, 50 silver month, a 2-star management talent, good for managing a town at most, and a 1-star swordsman talent. These 100 points are a real steal. Zhao Yi greeted Ceci's family with a broad smile. Ceci reports to the Lord. Ceci, welcome. Zhao village is in need of a village chief, and you will be the next in line. Ceci obeys. Ceci, the territory is in need of much construction, and there aren't enough houses. You and your family will stay in the Lord's mansion first, and move into the new house once it's finished. It's my honor to be able to live in the Lord's mansion. With Ceci's family moving in, there were no more vacant rooms in the mansion. Recruitment continued. 2 archers, a spearman, a blacksmith, 3 farmers, and 3 miners. The teleportation array lit up, and the recruits and their families emerged one after another. Soldiers led them to their designated locations to set up tents for temporary shelter. With the completion of the second wave of recruitment, the territory had added 12 new households, bringing the total to 40 and the total population to 186. With such a large population, the number of skeleton swordsmen attacking tonight would exceed 60. Including Zhao Yi himself, he had a total of 9 archers and 90 primary explosive arrows. Assuming an average of 1.5 explosive arrows per skeleton swordsman, he could easily eliminate all incoming skeleton swordsmen. Based on the actual combat results of the first night, the average number of explosive arrows consumed per skeleton swordsman was less than 1.5, but it was unclear how many explosive arrows would remain after tonight's battle. Recruitment was complete, and supplies distributed. Zhao Yi began assigning tasks to his subjects. Wayne, his sole assassin, left Zhao village to explore in a different direction. The targets were no longer limited to cemeteries, but also included terrain, abandoned mines, and other lords' territories. Another team of soldiers was sent to escort the subjects to the river to fetch water. Upon return, the priest Eric would purify the water, ensuring that the territory would have drinking water until the next rain. Forget about washing your face or bathing. Zhao Yi couldn't afford to waste a large amount of water. At most, he would just wipe himself with a wet towel. With Cici appointed village chief, Zhao village's administrative structure was about to be established. With limited funds, Zhao Yi allocated a low-grade magic crystal, equivalent to 10 gold, as operating funds. Cici frowned upon receiving the crystal, believing it was impossible to spend in Zhao village. Eric, observing this, had an idea. He pulled Cici aside, and after some discussion, Eric borrowed some money from Cici and, adding his own savings, scraped together 12 gold to purchase the crystal. Having arranged nearly everything he could think of, Zhao Yi only had 2 things to focus on: archery practice and preparations for the next battle. He summoned Archer Garridan and Daniel, along with other soldiers, and they marched to the southwest corner of Zhao village, where the previous night's battle had taken place outside the wall. It was almost certain that the undead attacking the territory would emerge from the cemetery to the southwest and advance in a straight line towards Zhao village. Following the low-level undead's fixed, unchanging battle plan, Zhao Yi could plan his tactics in advance to more effectively eliminate the incoming undead. After some discussion, a simple plan emerged. Because the attacking skeleton swordsmen tonight would number over 60, and we only had 9 archers, to minimize the possibility of close combat, we wouldn't be fighting outside the walls. The wall was 1.5 meters high and only about the width of an adult's foot. Standing behind it would obstruct their attack range, while standing on the wall itself would prevent them from maneuvering. They could hire a few farmers to build a step behind the wall with dirt and stones. Archers could stand on the step and fire their arrows. This way, the wall wouldn't obstruct their attack range. If the skeleton swordsman reached the wall, the archers would quickly retreat, and the shield warriors would step forward. After the archers had already decimated the skeleton swordsman, few would remain. 4 shield warriors could easily eliminate the remaining skeleton swordsman. Accidental injuries wouldn't be a problem. A priest would be stationed in the center of the territory, skilled in minor healing and purification. As long as the injuries weren't severe, they would recover quickly. Furthermore, a deep pit should be dug 5 meters in front of the wall, 2 meters wide, at least 10 meters long, and 2 meters deep. This was a blatant trap, extremely effective against low-level, unintelligent undead. Without the guidance of higher-level undead, most would simply charge straight at living creatures, refusing to evade traps. With a battle plan finalized, Zhao Yi personally went to see Sixi and asked her to hire farmers to work in the southwest corner of Zhao village. Then it was time for archery practice. Practice, eat lunch, nap, and more practice. In his spare time, Zhao Yi also checked the forum and saw a post going viral, garnering over 1 million comments. It was related to the advancement stone. A lucky player in the indigenous city had found a level 2 evolution stone in a treasure chest. He auctioned it off, attracting numerous professional bidders, and it ultimately fetched a hefty price of 420 low-grade magic crystals. This was because the evolution stone was new, and its effectiveness couldn't be guaranteed. If it were, the price would have risen. After all, the origin continent was rife with wealthy individuals who lacked talent and had plenty of money. The story is not over yet. The lucky player left with a magic crystal, but he didn't know that he had been targeted. Not long after leaving the market, the magic crystal on his body was stolen by an assassin whose strength was unknown. This lucky but unlucky player had nowhere to appeal, so he could only write down his experience on the forum. You should be thankful that you are still alive. Many players were secretly killed by the natives. Take this as a warning. Don't show off your wealth. There is no order in the game world. Only strength can keep wealth. I hope luck will come. I don't need a level 2 evolution stone. Just give me a level 1 evolution stone. A level 2 evolution stone, sold for 420 low-grade magic crystals. Zhao Yi was also very envious. He encountered a bug, but his luck was still a little worse. No, it's not bad. A priest recruitment scroll worth 3,000 points was opened. There are not many Lord players who can recruit priests now. I'm going to be the first to recommend. Please support, collect, recommend, invest, booklist, and all kinds of requests. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Second Night. As the afternoon wore on, Zhao Yi ordered Sixi to clean up the battlefield outside Zhao village from the previous night. They found a place to bury the bones, and gathered the broken iron swords to be forged into farm tools by the blacksmiths. After a long day of purified sunlight, the aura of death had largely been purged from the bones and the broken iron swords. After a battle, the only loot they could count as was the broken iron sword. How poor the undead were. Of course, this was mainly because the other items were useless to the undead. They wouldn't collect them or carry them with them. Without points and treasure chests, it would be impossible to sustain the war effort. Fortunately, this was just a game, not a game, but a real otherworld. Hundreds, perhaps even billions, of players would return to Blue Star overnight. In the evening, all the soldiers gathered, and Zhao Yi shared half of the cooked pork he had purchased. The meat boosted morale. Coupled with the fact that no one had died or been injured the previous night, the soldiers were confident about tonight's battle. Tonight's deployment was similar to last night's. Some soldiers were dispersed to the 4 walls surrounding the territory, while the remaining soldiers and Zhao Yi remained in the center. In the event of an unforeseen event, should the undead emerge from elsewhere, his troops could gather more quickly. Just like last night, 3 hours after nightfall, over 60 undead appeared southwest of Zhao village. Upon spotting the undead, Zhao Yi and his shield warrior, archer, and priest quickly converged on the southwest corner of Zhao village, while assassins, spearmen, and 2 swordsmen remained on guard in other areas of the village. Village chief Sisi led a few men through the village, primarily to reassure the residents. As a swordsman, Sisi would also join the fray with his longsword when necessary. Soon, the battle began, and amidst the roar of explosions, skeleton swordsmen were annihilated one after another. After 2 days of practice, Zhao Yi had mastered his bow and arrow. He began firing from a distance of 50 meters, and every shot missed. Over 60 skeleton swordsmen seemed like a lot for 9 archers, but also a small number. The anticipated close combat didn't occur. Even the closest skeleton swordsman was at least 10 meters away from the wall, not even entering the trap zone. Remember, the closest skeleton swordsman last night had already rushed within 8 meters. No skeleton swordsmen were left standing on the battlefield. 4 shield warriors scaled the wall and hacked down every skeleton swordsman crawling on the ground, extinguishing all the soul fires on the battlefield. By the end of the battle, the archers had expended a total of 75 primary explosive arrows, leaving 15 remaining. The first wave of archers recruited were all level 1, and Gary was about to reach level 2. The continuous shooting, coupled with the use of rapid-fire skills, had left the archers' arms aching. Zhao Yi and the other soldiers rested on the spot to prevent any accidents. If I had more money, I could buy more tents next time, an idea occurred to Zhao Yi. Calling up the system panel, Zhao Yi browsed through the 4 options: personal, territory, point small, and system log. Both skills increased experience by the same amount as yesterday, with the level 0 archers' experience increasing from 49% to 94%. All soldiers in the territory also saw some experience increase, and village chief CC's swordsman class also saw a small increase, increasing the territory's public sentiment by 1 point. The system log showed that a total of 63 skeleton swordsmen had been eliminated. 39 at level 0, 12 at level 1, 6 at level 2, 3 at level 3, 2 at level 4, and 1 at level 5, for a total of 860 points. Zhao Yi eliminated 4 skeleton swordsmen. 3 at level 0 and 1 at level 1. Gary had eliminated the most skeleton swordsmen, a full 9, and was only a few points away from a level 2 upgrade. The 4 shield warriors and the second wave of archers recruited weren't far from leveling up either. Looking through the forums, many territories had already concluded battles. Some posts even described attacks involving over 100 skeleton swordsmen. Having over 100 skeleton swordsmen meant that a player's territory's population had exceeded 300, fulfilling one requirement for territory advancement. Another requirement for territory advancement was advancing from 3rd-class Baron to 2nd-class Baron, which could be achieved with 2,000 points. It had only been the 2nd day since players entered the game world, and it was nearly impossible to find a player with 2,000 points. Territory advancement required waiting until the novice period was over. Zhao Yi had never imagined that a bug could make him the ultimate lord player. After all, before entering the game world, he was just an ordinary person. Just because he was ordinary didn't mean everyone else was ordinary, including national powers, consortiums, and family-based forces on Blue Star. Zhao Yi didn't dare recruit players easily, but the larger powers could recruit familiar players, and point-based recruitment made this easier. This was especially true for national powers with military clout. As long as they were familiar with the rules of the game world, it was easy for them to grow. Even ordinary players could recruit a few friends and relatives to help them. Alone, Zhao Yi could only rely on himself. Every player who had finished a battle was eagerly anticipating tomorrow's arrival, hoping to open a treasure chest, hoping to escape the shabby world and find goodies within, allowing them to live more easily in the game world. Of course, most players had taken it to heart that wealth shouldn't be displayed. They didn't yet have the strength to protect it. Zhao Yi, too, was eagerly anticipating it, browsing the forums and resting only when he could no longer. Only when his territory's strength reached a certain level would Zhao Yi abandon his night watch with his soldiers. He closed his eyes and opened them again, and dawn arrived. The system panel appeared out of thin air, and the battle summary began. You destroyed 63 undead, you suffered 0 casualties, a fantastic battle, battle rating, D. Points increased by 40%, professional experience increased by 40%, received a silver treasure chest. As the words professional experience increased by 40% appeared, Zhao Yi felt a surge of warmth in his body. He clenched his fists, feeling the increase in strength. I've leveled up, Zhao Yi realized. We'll talk about upgrading later. Zhao Yi clicked on the silver treasure chest that popped up on the screen, revealing 16 cards. He spent 3 minutes going through all the cards. 2 silver cards, 4 bronze cards, 5 iron cards, and 5 common cards. The 2 silver cards each contained a 1 cubic meter storage ring and 100 gold coins. The 4 bronze cards each contained 10 iron-grade bows, 10 gold coins, 1 low-grade magic crystal, and an earth-made recruitment scroll. The 5 iron cards each contained a level 1 evolution stone, an assassin recruitment scroll, 100 kilograms of black bread, 10 ordinary iron shields, and 1 cubic meter of wood. Zhao Yi simply ignored the common cards. Of the silver, bronze, and iron cards, Zhao Yi favored the storage ring, iron bow, earth-made recruitment scroll, level 1 evolution stone, and assassin recruitment scroll. However, the silver treasure chest only allowed the selection of 4 cards. Zhao Yi gave up the assassin recruitment scroll without hesitation. The assassin recruitment scroll was probably the least valuable of the 5 cards and would not be very useful to Zhao Yi. If it was the archer recruitment scroll, he would have given it more consideration. Chapter 16 Impact C Evaluation. He flipped over the 4 cards representing the storage ring, black iron bow, earth-made recruitment scroll, and level 1 evolution stone, and the system panel returned to the desktop. Zhao Yi opened his personal section and discovered he had indeed leveled up. Name, Zhao Yi, lifespan 24/85, occupation, 3rd class baron level 1 archer, 8%, attributes, strength 8, constitution 8, agility 8, wisdom 7, free attribute point 1, charisma 7, leadership 17/49, with a level up, strength, constitution, agility, and wisdom all increased by 1 point, along with an additional free attribute point. Charisma remained unchanged, but command increased from 42 to 49. Players on the forum had already discovered the secret to command: wisdom charisma equals command. Indeed, commanders rely on wisdom to command their armies, but they also possess personal charisma, which allows them to attract soldiers. Free attribute points can only be added to the 4 dimensions, so Zhao Yi has no plans to add any for now. After all, as a lord, his primary focus in battle is commanding his subordinates. Perhaps increasing wisdom to increase his leadership would be more appropriate. Currently, he has more than enough leaders and doesn't need to increase them now. The points displayed in the points store have already exceeded 1,000, reaching 1,208, enough to recruit 4 archers. He certainly can't use all of his points on archers. Zhao Yi needs to carefully consider how to use them. Upon opening the forum, a C rating, higher than a D, has appeared. Obtaining a gold chest allows you to draw a gold card. More than one player has achieved a C rating. One Lord player with a C rating speculates that achieving a C rating is possible by defeating over 100 attacking undead without any casualties, excluding minor injuries. None of the players who achieved a C rating revealed the prizes they'd drawn from their chests, but the player who drew the advancement stone posted a congratulatory message. In just one day, players in the market had been auctioning off advancement stones, with level 1 stones fetching at least 15 low-grade magic crystals, and level 2 stones exceeding 500. Short on cash, Zhao Yi would consider putting the level 1 advancement stone up for auction. Beyond the level 1 advancement stone, Zhao Yi was even more eager to sell his storage ring. The storage ring he'd drawn only had 1 cubic meter of space, requiring 1,000 points in the points mall. On the origin continent, such a storage item would cost at least 80 low-grade magic crystals. Currently, storage items were dispensable. It was best to save the advancement stone for future use or to give to subordinates. If funds were truly limited, the advancement stone could be sold, as reaching level 9, 100%, was still some distance away. After browsing the forum, Zhao Yi pondered one thing: should I strive for a C rating? A C rating meant a territory with a population of 300 and over 100 invading undead. Reaching a territory's population of 300 is easy. Including Zhao Yi himself, there are already 186, leaving 114 more. Adding another 25 to 30 households will bring the population up to 300, but this will cost at least 250 points. While reaching the population limit is easy, the key is whether the territory can eliminate all incoming undead without casualties. The battle that just ended pitted 9 archers against 63 skeleton swordsmen. Based on this ratio, 100 skeleton swordsmen would require 14 archers. This means Zhao Yi needs to recruit 5 more archers, which will cost him 1,500 points, which is already insufficient. Oh, I also drew 10 black iron tier bows. Zhao Yi thought of the equipment cards in his card pack. Currently, the archers are using the inferior bamboo bows, which lack any special attributes, have a short range, and are inaccurate. Compared to the bamboo bow, the black iron bow he drew has the special attribute of precision, offering greater range, damage, and accuracy. Recruiting 2 more archers, Zhao Yi himself would continue using the bamboo bow, while the 10 archer soldiers would switch to black iron bows. Their strength would be greatly increased, and perhaps they could even eliminate the 100+ attacking skeleton swordsmen without engaging in melee combat. Thinking this through, Zhao Yi had almost made up his mind: aim for a C rank. Today was the last day of the novice period, and he would use it to improve himself as much as possible. Opening Notepad, Zhao Yi began writing and drawing. To achieve a C rank, he would use all his points to maximize his territory's strength. Recruiting 2 archers would cost him 600 points, leaving him with 608 points. Including the Earth Mage recruitment scroll, he would need to recruit about 27 more households. Zhao Yi would determine the exact number of recruits, one by one, near the teleportation array. He couldn't let the territory's population exceed 300. He would first subtract 270 points, leaving him with 338 points. As the territory's population grew, the number of officials would also need to increase. He would add 2 more officials, requiring 200 points. The number of households remained the same, leaving him with 158 points. The territory will soon have an Earth Mage, along with a priest who can purify mud and stone. Construction can now begin. The Earth Mage's skill is earth walling, specialized in building houses and city walls. Earth walling, as an Earth Mage's foundational skill, operates on a straightforward principle. Earth walling doesn't create the soil out of thin air, but rather shapes existing soil to achieve the desired shape. It's said that a powerful Earth Mage can build an entire city from mud in a single day. A level 0 Earth Mage, despite their limited mana, can easily build several modest dwellings in a single day, with assistance from nearby staff. Therefore, stonemasons and bricklayers will also be needed. Since 1 blacksmith isn't enough, 2 more will be needed. Zhao Yi will need to recruit 2 archers for a total of 600 points, 2 officials for 200 points, 2 blacksmiths, 6 stonemasons, and 7 bricklayers for a total of 300 points, and 5 farmers and 5 miners for a total of 100 points. This totals to 29 households, 1,200 points, with 8 points remaining. There's also a backup recruitment plan. The number of archers, officials, blacksmiths, farmers, and miners to recruit remains unchanged for now, while a 150-point shield warrior is added. Stonemasons, bricklayers, and additional farmers and miners are recruited based on the number of people. The main goal is to increase the number of archers by 10, while the number of shield warriors remains at 4, which is a bit low, so the number of shield warriors needs to be increased appropriately. There are still 24 low-grade magic crystals and 3 gold coins left, as well as stored rings and advancement stones that can be sold for currency. 75 primary explosive arrows are consumed in battle and need to be replenished. Furthermore, considering that 100 skeleton swordsmen require 150 explosive arrows to be eliminated, another 40 need to be purchased, for a total of 115, costing 565 gold coins. 30 multi-person tents are also required, costing 90 gold coins. If that's the case, I might not even need to sell the advancement stones. I'd have to make a trip to Ruddle City. It would be much better if I could just free up a market. A round trip would cost 4 low-grade magic crystals, which is a shame. Zhao Yi didn't rush into action. Instead, he used his equipment card to summon 10 black iron bows. Then, he gathered Gary and the other archers to discuss tonight's battle. Look at these bows. If 10 archers were equipped with these bows, could the territory defeat over 100 skeleton swordsmen in a single battle without suffering any casualties? Zhao Yi asked the archers. The archers took the black iron bows, understanding that the Lord would most likely give them theirs. These were magical equipment, and even the worst of them were far superior to the bamboo bows they had. Lord, with these bows, even 150 skeleton swordsmen would be wiped out, Gary said confidently after understanding the black iron bow's properties. Gary's words were echoed by the other archers. Equipped with a black iron bow, their combat effectiveness would increase significantly, and their confidence would grow accordingly. Alright, first, get used to your new bows and prepare for the battle tonight. This time, we'll be attacking over 100 skeleton swordsmen. Lord, we will annihilate all the incoming undead. Chapter 17 MV. With the archer's confirmation, The plan officially began. Zhao Yi brought his 2 remaining black iron bows to the teleportation array, ready to recruit personnel before heading to Rhoda City for procurement. The recruits, lacking tents to shelter and upon their arrival, rested for a while. If only I could draw a market, Zhao Yi sighed, then began recruiting. He first used the Earth Mage recruitment scroll. Seconds later, Earth Mage Colin and his family emerged from the teleportation array. Colin's Earth Mage talent was only 1 star. With no time to settle Colin and his family, Zhao Yi's first task was to build his own home, then build houses for other officials and professionals. After using the recruitment scroll, Zhao Yi then used points to recruit 2 archers, 2 officials, 2 blacksmiths, 6 stonemasons, 7 bricklayers, 5 farmers, and 5 miners. In total, 30 new households were added, bringing the number of households in Zhou village to 70 and the total population of the territory to 319. Tonight's attack by skeleton swordsmen will number approximately 110, requiring 165 primary explosive arrows. This will require the purchase of 130 additional explosive arrows and 30 multi-person tents, costing a maximum of 740 gold. The newly recruited subjects were temporarily settled by Cece's team, while Zhao Yi and 4 warriors departed for Rhoda City. Approximately 3 hours later, the group returned with a large supply of supplies. Due to the large number of tents, Zhao Yi did not purchase anything else. He only sold his stored ring to a local in the market. After deducting the commission, he still had 73 low-grade magic crystals. After purchasing 2 more supplies, Zhao Yi now only had 22 low-grade magic crystals and 6 gold coins. An official and a team of farmers moved the tents and distributed them to the newly recruited subjects. Zhao Yi personally distributed the explosive arrows to all the archers. Including Zhao Yi himself, each archer had 15 explosive arrows. After distributing the explosive arrows, Zhao Yi asked the archers how they were using the new bows. Each one beamed with delight. A few hours passed, and the archers had already become somewhat familiar with their new bows. By evening, while they weren't as proficient with the bamboo bows they'd been using, their combat effectiveness was undoubtedly significantly improved. Don't underestimate the difference between the ordinary bamboo bow and the black iron bow. Bamboo bows are still relatively inferior even at the lower levels. How could the bows commonly equipped by archery apprentices be considered superior equipment? After parting with the archers, Zhao Yi wandered around the territory. The territory already had 70 households and over 300 people, and Zhou village only covered 10,000 square meters, making it feel crowded. The main goal was to achieve a C rating during the novice period, otherwise, the territory's population wouldn't have grown so much. After tonight, the next step would be recruiting soldiers to increase the territory's combat effectiveness. After all, the territory's population had reached the upper limit for a third-level village, and the next step was to prepare for the territory's promotion. On the night of the promotion, more undead would attack. Furthermore, after the novice period ends, other undead units will appear. This requires more than just archers. A diverse mix of units is needed to effectively defend the territory and eliminate the incoming undead. Walking through the territory, Zhao Yi noticed a new courtyard within the designated residential area for soldiers' families, slightly larger than the residential area initially provided. From the outside, the courtyard appeared to be constructed entirely of earth, its walls slightly rough but sturdy enough to withstand heavy rain. It was obvious that this was the house built by the Earth Mage Colin, his home. While Colin meditated to restore his mana, he would continue building. In many cities, Earth Mages are the primary force in the construction industry, and Zhao Yi planned to utilize them in this capacity. After 2 tours of the territory, Zhao Yi returned to the Lord's residence for lunch, a nap, and archery practice. By evening, he had finally arrived. He took out the remaining cooked pork, heated it up slightly, and shared it with his soldiers. Then, he waited for the final battle of the 3-day novice period. After gathering intelligence on the forum, Zhao Yi was surprised to see some popular posts. Some Lord players had already announced territory promotions. These were likely the territories attacked by over 100 skeleton swordsmen last night. Eliminating so many skeleton swordsmen, plus the bonus points from a D or C rating, would net him over 2,000 points, enough to purchase a second-class baron. Having met the requirements for both territory promotions, it was a perfect opportunity to advance during the novice period. Over 100 posts had been posted announcing territory promotions. Judging by the content, They were primarily from official or military forces within the major nations of Blue Star, with a few from chaebols and family groups. It seemed like no ordinary players' territories were seeking promotions. With over 100 official posts, the number of unofficial posts was likely in the thousands. Official posts belonging to Chen State were very few, but Zhao Yi doubted they were truly few. Even Chen State's neighbor, Beach, had posted several official announcements. With the largest active military force on Blue Star and an even larger reserve force, Chen State's numbers were unmatched by any other nation on Blue Star. Even if it took up a quarter, Zhao Yi could believe it. However, no ordinary players' territories were promoted. This was within Zhao Yi's expectations. He was probably the most advanced among the ordinary players. This was even with the added bonus of a bug. Without it, Zhao Yi's territory would have been like most ordinary players, ordinary, able to hold out for the 3-day novice period, but after that, it would be dangerous, vulnerable to being overwhelmed by the undead if not handled with care. He envied those territories about to be promoted. The novice period was the best time to advance a territory. The only undead troops attacking the territory were skeleton swordsmen, making them easy to eliminate. For example, the archer class was now prevalent in player territories. Digging a trap and pouring fuel into it could easily trap and kill a large number of skeleton swordsmen. No matter how many skeleton swordsmen attacked, they could be found and eliminated. It was expected that according to these official announcements, most territories would be able to achieve promotion. Zhao Yi was envious of the territories about to be promoted. He began to wonder when his own territories would be promoted. He estimated that the earliest he could attempt to advance would be the day after the novice period ended. He would have enough points to purchase a second-class baron tomorrow, but he couldn't immediately advance his territory. No one knew what would happen to the attacking undead the night after the novice period ended. He needed a night to gain experience, then, depending on the situation, spend a few days increasing his strength to face the even more terrifying undead hordes. Time passed slowly, and some territories had already erupted in battle with the incoming undead. Before Zhao Yi's territory even saw a single undead sighting, a territory's undergoing promotion had already eliminated all the incoming enemies, providing Zhao Yi with a brief overview of the undead attacks during the promotion period through a post. There would be 3 waves of undead, each roughly the same size and strength. The first wave would be similar to normal attack, with similar strength. In the second and third waves, almost all the undead had increased in strength by a level, roughly 1 or 2. The time between 2 waves of incoming undead attacks ranges from as little as 10 minutes to as much as half an hour. Even with just skeleton swordsmen, it's difficult for those territories undergoing advancement to eliminate all incoming undead attacks without casualties. Killing a skeleton swordsman below level 3 requires 1 primary explosive arrow, while levels 4 to 6 require 2. Players' territories are likely to run out of primary explosive arrows, forcing them to resort to melee combat. Regardless of the cost, it's ultimately possible to eliminate all incoming undead attacks and complete the territory advancement. It's unlikely that many territories undergoing advancement will be decimated by the undead. Chapter 18 Gold. Soon, hundreds of burning soul fires appeared in the sight of the archers on guard duty outside Zhao village. Archers, shield warriors, priests, and mages converged on the southwest corner of the village. Zhao Yi and 10 archers ascended the thick steps and gazed at the advancing skeleton swordsmen in the distance. The bamboo bows the archers had previously used had a maximum range of 120 meters and an effective kill range of 80 meters. To accurately kill an enemy, it was best to bring them within 50 meters. The black iron bow, on the other hand, had a maximum range of over 250 meters and an effective kill range of 150 meters. Enemies within 80 meters could be accurately killed. More importantly, the black iron bow possessed the precision attribute, allowing archers to achieve even greater accuracy. The spacious and flat land outside Zhao village was ideal for archers. As usual, 2 test shots were fired at long range with ordinary arrows. As the enemy entered the 90-meter range, the 10 archers, under Zhao Yi's command, split into odd and even numbers, alternately fired explosive arrows at the skeleton swordsmen. Amidst the explosions, the skeleton swordsmen advanced one after another, turning into piles of bones on the ground. For every 10 meters the undead army advanced, at least 10 skeleton swordsmen fell, their soul fires extinguished, or they collapsed to the ground, battered and continuing to crawl forward. Finally, 3 skeleton swordsmen fell into the pit in front of the wall. Using their hands and feet, they tried to climb out. Just as their graying heads emerged, they were shattered by the swords of shield warriors who had scaled the wall and reached the pit's edge. Victory! Zhao Yi took a deep breath. With no undead left standing on the battlefield, the 4 shield warriors, armed with shields, advanced, searching for the remaining skeleton swordsmen on the ground. When all the soul fires on the ground were extinguished, the soldiers cheered, and Zhao Yi joined in the cheers. Determined to achieve a C rating, Zhao Yi fought tooth and nail, attracting over 100 skeleton swordsmen for this third night battle. Although Zhao Yi had a high degree of confidence in his plan to wipe out the attacking undead without any casualties, plans are only plans after all, and things can go wrong. Fortunately, nothing unexpected happened during the battle, and he completely defeated the undead. As expected, he received a C rating, and who knows what treasures he could find in the golden treasure chest. He retreated to the wall to rest. Of the 165 primary explosive arrows, 129 were consumed, leaving 36, an average of 3 per person. The system record showed that a total of 107 skeleton swordsmen were eliminated, 66 at level 0, 22 at level 1, 11 at level 2, 6 at level 3, 3 at level 4, and 1 at level 5. The points have increased to 1,473. Even if it was only a D rating, it would still exceed 2,000 points. Zhao Yi eliminated 5 skeleton swordsmen by himself, 2 at level 0, 2 at level 1, and 1 at level 3. Archer experience has increased from 8% at level 1 to 55%. Gary, who eliminated the most skeleton swordsmen in this battle, has reached level 3. Thinking that tonight's battle would likely earn him a C rating and a gold chest, Zhao Yi felt a surge of excitement, tempted to post a post boasting about it. However, his inner caution and his desire to conceal his wealth stopped him in his tracks. The right path now was to quietly build up his strength. He would hide until he was accidentally exposed, then surprise the world. A silent night passed. You eliminated 107 undead, you suffered 0 casualties, a fantastic battle. Battle rating, C, points increased by 50%, professional experience increased by 50%, received a gold chest, novice period ended. Zhao Yi's calm mood was rekindled by the appearance of the gold chest. Opening the chest, he revealed 25 cards, spread across 5 rows and columns, from which he could select 5 cards. Zhao Yi spent 5 minutes going through all the cards, 3 gold cards, 4 silver cards, 5 bronze cards, 6 iron cards, and 7 common cards. Following the principle of choosing the most valuable cards, regardless of their usefulness, Zhao Yi selected 5 cards. The 3 gold cards contained Undead Atlas, a 3-star Wind-Made recruitment scroll, and 100 low-grade magic crystals. 1 silver card represented the primary market. 1 bronze card contained 4 archer recruitment scrolls. The Atlas of the Undead, the meaning of which was roughly understood from the literal meaning. Zhao Yi pulled the gold card representing the Atlas of the Undead from his card pack and summoned an ancient book, approximately 3 centimeters thick. The cover depicted a grim reaper wielding a scythe. His eyes reddened. Zhao Yi dared not even meet its gaze. It's just a book. Zhao Yi felt a sense of absurdity. He flipped open the book, and the Atlas of the Undead vanished in a flash of white light. Another icon representing the Atlas of the Undead appeared on the system panel. The Undead Atlas details the undead races: ghouls, zombies, skeletons, ghosts, liches, undead, knights, undead, dragons, and the ultimate undead boss, the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper receives only a brief mention, as he has never been to the Origin continent, let alone been seen by any living being. He merely knows of its existence. The other undead races, however, have been encountered and are more fully understood. For example, the skeleton race, with which Zhao Yi frequently battles, is further divided into skeleton swordsmen, skeleton archers, skeleton knights, skeleton lancers, and so on. Skeleton soldiers can also be upgraded: skeleton warrior, level 1, skeleton captain, level 2, skeleton commander, level 3, skeleton general, level 4, and skeleton king, level 7. Zhao Yi understands that tonight's battle will likely involve encounters with other undead races, such as the ghost, which is immune to physical attacks. If the Lord player lacks a mage or priest under his command, they will have to purchase magic scrolls to eliminate the ghosts. After examining only a small portion of the Undead Atlas, Zhao Yi felt it would be incredibly useful to him. Even his own men were far from understanding so much about the undead. Players on the forum had also gathered some information about the undead races through various channels, but combined, it contained less than a quarter of the Undead Atlas's content, and most of it concerned low-level undead. Closing the Undead Atlas, Zhao Yi stared at the bronze cards representing the 4 marksman recruitment scrolls, speechless. He'd been planning to stop recruiting marksmen for a while, but then the treasure chest revealed 4 marksmen, worth 1,200 points, more than 100 low-grade magic crystals. Then came the 3-star Windmage recruitment scroll. This was the most talented class Zhao Yi had ever encountered, and a 3-star talent could even lead to a powerful Tier 5 class. Zhao Yi was eager to recruit it, eager to quickly establish a market in his territory. Even if it was just a basic one, Zhao Yi wouldn't have to constantly travel to Rhoda City, spending 4 low-grade magic crystals on a single round trip. It was a real pain. Of course, buying and selling things in the market also requires paying travel expenses and commissions, which may not necessarily cost less money than going to Rhoda City. The key is convenience, and in the future, items can be auctioned for a longer time. Chapter 19 Sister and Brother. While eating breakfast, Zhao Yi pondered how to spend his 2,206 points. He wouldn't be recruiting many civilians this time, at most a few carpenters to craft wooden furniture and other items later. Most of his points would be used to recruit soldiers. He had a scroll to recruit a wind mage and a priest who could perform purification. 2 or 3 ghosts could be easily eliminated, but more would be more difficult. However, recruiting a fire mage required 1,000 points, which would use up half his points. He was considering buying magic scrolls to deal with the ghosts first. Low-level undead could be easily eliminated by elementary explosive arrows. There were also cheaper offensive magic scrolls that could destroy ghosts, and even enchantment scrolls that could temporarily enchant ordinary weapons, effectively damaging ghosts. He had 4 archer recruitment scrolls, so he didn't need to increase his number. He could add a few assassins, along with shield warriors and spearmen. Against the undead, an assassin's assassination skills weren't very effective. Their main role was reconnaissance, detecting undead movements, monitoring other player leaders' movements, and scouting the terrain. As his territory grew, 1 assassin wasn't enough. Let's recruit 3 more assassins. At night, send out 1 assassin in each of the 4 directions to scout the movements of the undead and reduce the chance of accidents. 1 assassin costs 200 points, so 3 assassins will cost 600 points. Compared to the combination of swordsmen and shield warriors, spearmen are more suitable for pairing with shield warriors. Shield warriors hold up their shields for defense, while spearmen use the gaps between the shields to directly thrust their spears. This is a very good offensive and defensive combination. After recruiting spearmen and shield warriors, the number of them will be equal. Currently, there is 1 spearman and 4 shield warriors in the territory, and recruiting 1 shield warrior requires 150 points. So let's recruit 7 spearmen and 4 shield warriors first, for a total of 1,300 points, and there will be a few points left in reserve. Next, buy supplies from the market. The 129 arrows consumed in last night's battle need to be replenished, and at least 20 tents need to be purchased for the newly recruited personnel, which requires 705 gold. Adding the 100 low-grade magic crystals from the gold card, Zhao Yi still had 122 low-grade magic crystals, equivalent to at least 1,220 gold. After purchasing arrows and tents, he still had over 500 gold left. Considering that the first batch of people had already joined the territory 3 days ago, and the limited food supplies were depleting, Zhao Yi planned to purchase a batch of black bread, white bread, flour, meat, coal, and other items. These items couldn't be distributed directly to the people. He needed to establish a shop in the territory and sell them at a price slightly above cost. Cost wasn't an option, given the travel expenses. Zhao Yi's own funds were limited, but he wouldn't exploit the people. A slightly higher price would suffice. The shop needed a manager with business acumen and literacy, so recruiting 1 would probably require 100 points. With the remaining points and magic crystals, he would purchase magic scrolls and enchantment scrolls from the points mall or the market, but he would leave that for later. Breakfast was long over. With a clear plan for procurement and recruitment in mind, Zhao Yi first sent a message to Earth Mage Colin, urging him to halt his current mission and build a general store for the territory. He then arrived at the open space to the right of the teleportation array, with the Lord's residence to the left. Zhao Yi used the card representing the primary market, and a small model of a primary market appeared in his hand. He placed it on the ground and stepped back. The model gradually grew larger, becoming a single-story primary market. Entering the market, it was deserted and the decor was ordinary, far from comparable to the more sophisticated markets in Rhoda City. Furthermore, the primary market could only trade with other markets within the province. There were only 6 rooms with screens, a small teleportation array, and an alchemical tool that could record and transmit images to the market's trading network. The origin continent appeared more backward than Blue Star, but in reality, those in power or high-ranking professionals treated the common people like ants, with no intention of changing their lives. Furthermore, the cost of implementing such a system was prohibitive, making it impossible for ordinary households to access it. They cared little about the casualties of natural disasters, focusing solely on their own interests. If it weren't for the undead plague, far more civilians would have starved to death in each city. The market wasn't just for Zhao Yi, it was also accessible to other natives and players. Given the limited resources of the territory's inhabitants, it was practically impossible to visit the market, so a single warrior would be assigned to guard it on weekdays. They searched the market's trading network to determine the prices of various items, including the final offensive and enchantment scrolls. Compared to basic explosive arrows, these scrolls were relatively inexpensive. A single offensive scroll cost as little as 1 low-grade magic crystal, instantly killing a low-level ghost. Enchantment scrolls, which increased weapon magic damage, cost as little as 1 low-grade magic crystal and 2 gold coins, and could even enchant ordinary arrows. However, arrow enchantments were essentially single-use items, extending their range beyond that of magic scrolls. Enchanted on melee weapons, they could last for several minutes, capable of destroying several ghosts. Therefore, Zhao Yi decided to purchase all supplies through the market and use all his points to recruit personnel. Leaving the market and approaching the teleportation array, Zhao Yi prepared to recruit personnel. An official and several of his subordinates were nearby, preparing to welcome the newcomers. He first used the wind-type recruitment scroll and 4 archer recruitment scrolls. The teleportation array lit up, and the first to appear were a brother and sister. A brother and sister, this was somewhat unusual for Zhao Yi. Most of the residents in the territory were families of 4 or 5, followed by families of 3 or 6, and the number of families would only increase. This was the first time he had seen a family of only 2, without parents or elders. Furthermore, all the soldiers Zhao Yi had recruited in the past few days were men, almost making him mistaken for the native soldiers. The sister looked to be around 20 years old, about 1.6 meters tall, just slightly taller than her brother. She wore the black robes that represented a mage, revealing a delicate face with a slightly aloof expression. Mage Joanna, reporting to the Lord. Joanna, welcome. The territory is in need of much construction and lacks adequate housing. You and your brother will reside in the Lord's mansion first, and move into your new home once the new one is completed. With the arrival of the Earth Mage Colin, new houses are already under construction. The first will be Colin's home, and 2 more were built yesterday. Pastor Eric and village chief Cease have both moved out of the Lord's mansion. Living in the mansion felt like the Lord valued them, but it was their home, and they couldn't live there forever. So, they asked Colin to build them new homes first, and Colin accepted. Joanna hesitated at Zhao Yi's words. After all, she was an unmarried woman, and moving into the Lord's mansion like that was just a matter of seconds. After a few seconds of hesitation, Joanna accepted Zhao Yi's invitation. Lord, it's my honor to be able to live in your mansion, the conversation concluded, and the official personally led the way for Joanna and her brother to settle down in the Lord's mansion. Chapter 20, Domination Talent. Zhao Yi was curious about the 3-star talent mage, so he first opened Territory to check out Joanna's profile. Name, Joanna. Gender, female. Age, 18. Occupation, level 0 Wind Mage, 0%. Talent, 3-star Wind Mage. 2-star Leadership. Skills, Blessing of Wind, Wind Blade. Loyalty, 78. Salary, 1 gold month. Just glancing at Joanna's profile filled Zhao Yi with amazement. Besides the 3-star Wind Mage talent, Joanna also possessed the 2-star Leadership talent. According to forum posts, only natives with a leadership talent can lead troops into battle alone. In some games on Blue Star, characters with a leadership talent are considered heroes. There are quite a few Lord players commanding soldiers with a leadership talent, but the vast majority are 1-star, with a very small number being 2-star. I've yet to see any posts with 3-star leadership. It's not just a talent issue, Joanna actually has 2 skills. One auxiliary skill, Blessing of Wind, increases the movement speed of multiple targets. With just one attack skill, Wind Blade, destroying a low-level ghost with one Wind Blade was no problem. But what's with only 78 loyalty points? Isn't the starting loyalty 80? Zhao Yi thought of a possibility. Perhaps Joanna, having moved into the Lord's mansion, had led her to believe he, the Lord, had ulterior motives. Honestly, this was a game world after all. Once the game was over, he'd return to Blue Planet. Zhao Yi had no intention of romance with the natives in the game world. At most, he'd carefully search for a female player and rekindle the relationship in real life after leaving the game world. Closing Joanna's profile, Zhao Yi took another look at Joanna's younger brother. He had decent talent, too, name, J, gender, male, age. 14, occupation, level 0 swordsman, 0%, talent, 2-star, skill, heavy attack, loyalty. 80, salary, none, he was just too young. Joanna definitely wouldn't allow her younger brother to fight the undead on the battlefield. Recruitment continued, using recruitment scrolls to recruit 4 archers, and using points to recruit 7 lancers, 4 shield warriors, 3 assassins, an official, a merchant, 3 carpenters, and 4 miners. Recruitment ended, leaving only 6 points. Recruiting more miners meant Zhao Yi would soon come up with a mining plan, which required sufficient manpower. With this wave of recruitment complete, the territory had added 28 new households, totaling 125 people, bringing the total number of Lord households to nearly 100. Including Zhao Yi himself, the territory's population had risen to a rather unsettling 444. 444 people meant that the undead attack tonight would number around 150, and with so many different types of troops, it would be another difficult battle. However, Zhao Yi believed that with the territory's current strength, victory would not be difficult. As the territory grew, the number of recruits would only increase, and with the number of undead attacks increasing, the territory's combat effectiveness must be maximized. After recruiting was completed, Zhao Yi summoned the village chief, Cici, and the merchant, Haydn, to the market to prepare for a major purchase. This time, the purchases weren't just about rudimentary explosive arrows, tents, and magic scrolls, but also food, fuel, and other daily necessities. Zhao Yi would decide on the former himself, while the latter would be purchased after discussing with Cici and Haydn. There would be around 150 attacking undead, and 225 explosive arrows would be needed to eliminate them all. The territory would need 159 more explosive arrows, making a total of 160. With the addition of 28 new families, 30 multi-person tents would be needed. Add to that 5 attack magic scrolls and 5 enchantment scrolls, and a total of 100 low-grade magic crystals would be needed. All 3 were considered military supplies, and compared to the more expensive military supplies, daily necessities like food and fuel were much cheaper. For example, black bread cost only 3 copper coins per pound, while 1 gold coin could buy at least 3,500 pounds. After discussing with Cici and Haydn, Zhao Yi planned to purchase 1 gold of black bread, 50 silvers of white bread, 1 gold of refined flour, 1 gold of pork, 2 golds of coal, 1 gold of weeds and rotten wood, 2 golds of ordinary wood, 1 gold of linen, and 1 gold of rickshaw, 1-wheeled or 2-wheeled. Commoners in the territory lacked homes and couldn't bake bread, so they had to buy pre-baked black bread. In fact, in the indigenous cities, most low-income families didn't even have fireplaces to bake bread. They bought pre-baked black bread from bakeries because it lasted longer, and they often bought a lot at a time. Professionals had higher incomes and could afford white bread. Housewives preferred to make their own white bread, as freshly baked white bread was very soft and had a better texture. Military supplies alone cost 100 low-grade magic crystals, while daily necessities alone cost less than 2 low-grade magic crystals. This demonstrates the extreme cost of war. Considering the current battles the territory was facing were barely even small-scale. After purchasing all the supplies, Zhao Yi had about 20 low-grade magic crystals left. Gritting his teeth, he added 10 more illumination arrows to his order. These arrows, upon impact, emit a burst of light for 10 seconds, potentially turning night into day. However, they cannot harm the undead, costing 1 low-grade magic crystal each. While there are higher-level illumination arrows that can actually damage the undead, their high price puts Zhao Yi off. Zhao Yi searched the market for the necessary supplies. Haydn suggested purchasing from a chamber of commerce. While this chamber might not offer the lowest prices, all purchased supplies could be transported at once, significantly reducing travel costs. Furthermore, if the purchase was large, bargaining was possible. Zhao Yi followed Haydn's advice and purchased all the supplies from the Rhoda branch of a renowned chamber of commerce in the Violet Kingdom. After negotiating the price through the trading system, he paid a total of 108 low-grade magic crystals, and the other party gifted Zhao Yi with a large variety of daily necessities, valued at less than 5 gold. He placed 3 low-grade magic crystals as energy for the market's teleportation array, enough for 10 uses. He activated the array, and within 10 seconds, a storage box arrived. Zhao Yi placed the purchase price plus travel expenses, a total of 111 low-grade magic crystals, into the box. This left Zhao Yi with only 8 low-grade magic crystals. About half an hour later, a storage box filled with various supplies appeared in the teleportation array. Zhao Yi picked it up and walked to the open space outside the market. Saixi had already hired all the idle farmers and miners in the territory. As Zhao Yi unloaded the supplies from the box, Saixi directed the workers to move most of the supplies to the area near the store under construction. Tents were delivered to the new residents, who also helped set them up. Seeing the large amount of supplies arriving in the territory boosted public morale. Zhao Yi emptied the box and returned to the market to teleport the box away. The entire transaction was complete. Compared to Blue Star, the only difference was leaving a review for the merchant. Chapter 21 The Fourth Night. With a recruitment complete and supplies purchased, the main task now lies in preparing for tonight's battle. The incoming undead are increasing in number, and they're no longer limited to the skeleton swordsman class. The territory is about to face a more complex battle, and the potential for accidents is high. The good news is that the undead attacks are still low-level, unintelligent, simply targeting living creatures. They keep advancing, climbing mountains and wading through rivers, without even taking detours. Traps are very effective against these low-level undead. Given Zhao Village's situation, they can dig more deep pits outside the village, and with a bit of extra money, they can also construct magic traps. However, magic traps are still less cost-effective than basic explosive arrows. Currently, the most cost-effective combat method on the Origin continent is melee combat with warriors, followed by targeted attacks with explosive arrows, a common alchemical item. Using expensive alchemical bombs to eliminate the undead is a waste of money, and no lord would be willing to do so. Zhao Yi dispatched all 4 assassins on scouting missions, each assigned a specific direction. Finding mineable mineral veins has become their primary task. With no rain yet, crops couldn't be planted. Zhao Yi lacked a nature mage, so agricultural production was temporarily suspended. Currently, the only source of income for civilians was employment. The people in the territory didn't have much money, so the territory needed other sources of funds, and mining became a suitable option. Zhao Yi had already recruited a number of miners to prepare for the operation. Once a suitable mineral vein was found, mining would begin. It was lunchtime, and Zhao Yi was treated to Joanna's cooking. Joanna and her brother were temporarily staying at the Lord's mansion. At noon, Joanna prepared lunch and, upon seeing Zhao Yi, politely invited the Lord to try it. Zhao Yi accepted, enjoying the white bread and Joanna's broth, which tasted quite good. However, Joanna ate less because of Zhao Yi's presence, but Jay happily chatted with Zhao Yi about the battlefield. Jay had considered slaying the undead to avenge his parents, but his sister, who was too young, wouldn't allow it. During his break, Zhao Yi checked the forums, but couldn't find any official posts announcing territory upgrades. No player would be so naive as to upgrade their territory on the first day after the novice period. Instead, many Lord players were apprehensive about tonight's battle. Many felt their territories could not be defended, and had already made plans to use the teleportation array to escape to the indigenous city if they failed. Few Lord players lived and died with their territories. Death meant nothing, but life offered a chance to become a stronger power, or even become Lord again. There weren't many worthwhile posts, so Zhao Yi searched around and came across a few that described the effects of territory upgrades. A third-class barony had an area of 5 square kilometers, a third-class village of 10,000 square meters, and a population cap of 300. A second-class barony had an area of 10 square kilometers, a second-class village of 20,000 square meters, and a population cap of 600. Essentially, all stats were doubled, but the territory remained the same after the upgrade. The only change is the newly added 10,000 square meters of village space. After the upgrade, the land is purified, allowing for direct residence and farming. Walls still need to be built. A second-class Baron Lord has already officially announced that their territory will be promoted as early as the day after the novice period ends. Reaching the population limit for a second-class village is simple. Zhao Yi can recruit another wave of people and almost reach the upper limit. The 4,000 points required to upgrade from a second-class Baron to a first-class Baron is not a large sum. For a territory with a population of 600, a single battle, not counting combat score bonuses, should earn over 4,000 points. During the day, you can also seek out undead and battle them for even more points. Ordinary Lord players are certainly far from comparable to those of larger factions. The manpower and resources available to them are simply not on the same level, and the gap widens with time. Of course, it's not impossible for a small number of ordinary players to seize the opportunity and develop their territory to rival those of larger factions. After resting, practicing archery, and having dinner with the soldiers, night fell. Zhao Yi once again dispatched 4 assassins to scout for the incoming undead. A small number of soldiers stood sentry around the walls of Zhao village, while the majority of the remaining troops gathered in the center. 2 hours later, the assassin scouting the southwest returned with a report that over 100 undead were advancing toward the territory. Zhao Yi led his soldiers to the southwest corner of Zhao village, where the assassins continued to report. Their intelligence was only a rough outline. Among the undead were skeleton archers, skeleton knights, and ghouls, and the assassins were wary of approaching. Skeleton archers were ranged attackers, while skeleton knights and ghouls were extremely fast, making it difficult for the assassins to escape once spotted. Fortunately, the assassins were single targets, concealing their presence as much as possible. The undead were less likely to detect them, as gathering together in large numbers was key. This time, the undead attack was primarily skeleton soldiers, skeleton swordsmen, skeleton lancers, skeleton knights, and skeleton archers. The only non-skeleton soldiers were ghouls and ghosts. Archers prioritize killing skeleton archers, skeleton knights, and ghouls. Mages and priests watch out for ghosts. Zhao Yi assigned combat missions to the soldiers. He was most concerned about skeleton archers and ghosts. As long-range attackers, skeleton archers had a maximum attack range that exceeded that of bamboo bows. If his own archers were not equipped with black iron bows, they would likely suffer heavy casualties from the attacks of skeleton archers. Ghosts, being immune to physical attacks, were more difficult to deal with. Zhao Yi had relatively few mages under his command, only 1 wind mage, 1 earth mage, and 1 priest. The earth mage was only a support. Fortunately, he had purchased attack magic scrolls and enchantment scrolls in advance. He gave the 5 attack magic scrolls to Colin and the 5 enchantment scrolls to the 2 swordsmen and 3 shield warriors. The wall in the southwest corner of Zhao village had been renovated several times, making it more suitable for the soldiers to fight. Zhao Yi and his archers stood on a dirt platform, aiming down at the undead from above. 8 shield warriors stood behind the trap closest to the wall, shields raised in a defensive stance. 8 spearmen stood behind the shield warriors, followed by swordsmen, mages, and priests. Only the assassins stayed out of the fray, keeping watch in other directions of Zhao village. Soon, the soul fire blazing in the eyes of skeleton soldiers entered Zhao Yi's sight. The undead were approaching, and everyone gripped their weapons. Because of the skeleton archers, they would attack the undead from a greater range this time. When the undead were about 150 meters from the wall, an archer equipped with a black iron bow fired a flare arrow at the area where the undead were located. 2 seconds later, the flare arrow struck an undead swordsman, emitting a flood of light that seemed to turn night into day. The archers equipped with black iron bows aimed their explosive arrows at the skeleton archers. Amidst the blasts, the soul fire of several skeleton archers was extinguished, and several other undead accidentally hit by the explosive arrows were also destroyed. The day hadn't yet ended, and the archers continued firing. The undead, surging from the attacks of the living, also surged, accelerating their advance. The fastest skeleton knights and ghouls broke away from their formation and charged towards Zhao village. Despite their limited range, the skeleton archers continued to fire bone arrows in the direction of Zhao village. Some skeleton archers were struck by explosive arrows before they could even fire, their soul fire extinguished, or they collapsed to the ground, forced to crawl forward. The archers armed with the black iron bows ignored the approaching skeleton knights and ghouls. They wanted to take advantage of the remaining illumination arrows to eliminate as many advancing skeleton archers as possible. 10 seconds of illumination gave each archer enough time to fire 5 explosive arrows. Zhao Yi and the other 4 archers armed with bamboo bows were tasked with eliminating the skeleton knights and ghouls. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22: The Mage's Power. It's getting closer. The 11 skeleton knights riding on skeleton horses were less than 60 meters away from the wall. It would only take 5 seconds for the skeleton cavalry to charge over. Zhao Yi and 4 archers equipped with bamboo bows, taking advantage of the light, shot explosive arrows at the skeleton knights. All 5 explosive arrows hit the target. However, 2 of the explosive arrows hit the skeleton horses, and 3 hit the skeleton knights. The soul fire of one skeleton horse was extinguished directly, and the other skeleton horse was severely injured and fell to the ground, dragging the skeleton knights on them to the ground as well. Of the 3 skeleton knights who were directly hit by arrows, 2 had their soul fire extinguished, and 1 was severely injured. 2 skeleton horses without owners and 1 skeleton horse carrying a seriously injured owner continued to rush forward with the other skeleton knights. The second wave of 5 explosive arrows attacked again, causing several more casualties to the skeleton knights. While the third wave of explosive arrows was being prepared, the skeleton knights were approaching. There was no need to worry about a melee, traps awaited them. With a thud, the skeleton knight and his mount stumbled, plunging into a trap. The traps were shallow, only about 2 meters deep, allowing the skeleton knights to escape. However, to charge and kill the living creatures, they would have to navigate at least 3 traps. The less intelligent, low-level undead had no way of avoiding them. They could only fall into a trap, climb out, fall into another trap, and climb out again. Zhao Yi and his 4 archers had ample time to eliminate all the skeleton knights. With all the skeleton knights dead, no one entered the penultimate trap. As soon as they emerged, they were killed by explosive arrows. The archers equipped with black iron bows continued to target the remaining skeleton archers. When their illuminating arrows expired, they fired another. Zhao Yi and his 4 bamboo archers had already switched their targets to the ghouls. They possessed human-like arms and legs, yet crawled on all 4s like dogs. They had human-like faces, yet lacked any trace of reason or emotion. Their sole motivation was an insatiable thirst for human flesh. Apparently, 4 legs simply outpaced 2. However, ghouls of the same rank lacked the physical defenses of skeletons. Zhao Yi and his 4 companions had already switched to ordinary arrows, targeting the ghouls. The ghouls were even fewer in number than the skeleton knights. With a little over 10 meters to the wall, the ghouls were completely destroyed. Following the ghouls came a cluster of insubstantial shadows, roughly the same number as the skeleton knights. These were ghosts, ignoring physical attacks. Ghosts, ignoring physical attacks, were also unable to launch physical attacks, instead using mental attacks. Low-level ghosts' mental attacks were extremely weak, unable to kill even ordinary humans. For low-level professionals, their primary effect was to disrupt their emotions, disrupting their ability to fight normally, and in severe cases, driving them mad. Watching the approaching ghosts, Joanna quickly condensed a small wind blade in front of her. Instantly, it flew out, severing 3 ghosts in a row before relinquishing control and letting them fly away, quickly dissipating. Wind blade after wind blade condensed in front of Joanna until the 4th blade dissipated, leaving no ghosts on the battlefield. Joanna's fighting style stunned Colin and Eric. They had no chance in this battle, having completely annihilated all 11 ghosts. It seemed Joanna still had plenty of mana left after unleashing 4 wind blades. This was the power of a 3-star talent. A 1-star talent was far inferior. The battle continued, with skeleton knights, skeleton archers, ghouls, ghosts, and numerous skeleton swordsmen and lancers. Zhao Yi and his archers fired explosive arrows, mowing down the skeletons one by one. The battle felt long, but in reality, it was only half a minute. Starting with a range of 150 meters, the undead shifted from walking to running. If unattacked, a skeleton swordsman could cover the distance in just 20 seconds. Failure to eliminate all the attacking undead within a short period of time meant they had already charged, prompting close combat and inevitable casualties. For Zhao Yi, achieving a higher combat rating required minimizing the likelihood of close combat. In the future, he would also add a new requirement: eliminate all skeleton archers before they entered range. As shield warriors, spearmen, and swordsmen entered the fray, eliminating the remaining undead, the battle finally ended. Perhaps accustomed to victory, the soldiers who had joined initially were able to face it calmly, merely smiling. Tonight's battle wasn't too stressful for the territory, and Zhao Yi already had thoughts of advancing further. Returning to the walls to rest, the archers tallied up their expended explosive arrows. Of the 226 primary explosive arrows, 201 had been consumed, leaving only 25 remaining. This single battle cost 1,000 gold, enough to sustain 1,000 rural families for a year. The cost of a third-rank barony was so staggering. No wonder archers were so commonly equipped with exploding arrows, yet the battles in the indigenous cities were still primarily melee combat. Looking through the system logs, Zhao Yi discovered that aside from exploding arrows and 3 illuminating arrows, not a single magic scroll or enchantment scroll was consumed. All the ghosts were eliminated by Joanna using wind blades. Zhao Yi was so focused on the battle at the time that he didn't even witness Joanna's 4 consecutive wind blades annihilating all the ghosts. This is a treasure. With both leadership talent and such powerful combat prowess, I wouldn't trade it for 10,000 gold. Indeed, in the indigenous cities, a 3-star talent mage was worth far more than 10,000 gold. In tonight's battle, a total of 162 undead attacked, including the skeleton horses ridden by the skeleton knights. Skeleton swordsmen were the most numerous, totaling 64, while ghouls were the least numerous, with only 8. There were a staggering 102 level 0 undead, 30 level 1, 15 level 2, 8 level 3, 4 level 4, 2 level 5, and 1 level 6. Slaying so many undead earned Zhao Yi 2,200 points. AC rating would bring that to 3,300, further ensuring his territory promotion. Now all Zhao Yi had to do was wait until dawn to open the golden treasure chest. If he could find something worth hundreds of low-grade magic crystals, he would definitely advance his territory. The main issue is the high number of explosive arrows consumed in the previous battle. The night before the territory promotion, they would encounter even more undead, forcing their explosive arrow consumption to at least double. After the battle, many players advanced. Zhao Yi's archer class reached level 2, gaining 1 point in each of the 4 attributes, plus 2 free attribute points to add, raising his command to 56. Joanna, participating in the battle for the first time, was promoted directly to level 1, and Gary, the highest level soldier, was already level 4. It's unclear when the Earth Mage Colin reached level 1, as there's no record of Colin's kills. He must have been building more buildings these past 2 days, leading to the level increase. The archers, the mainstays of combat, were generally leveling up, while the melee soldiers saw little combat and gained little experience. This situation needed to change. Zhao Yi's enemies wouldn't be limited to the undead, they might also include players and indigenous people. Relying solely on archers wouldn't be enough to deal with them. Zhao Yi jotted down some of his thoughts in his notepad, then finally opened the forum to check on the other Lord players. Chapter 23, Unmovable. Damn the skeleton archers. They've caused heavy casualties among my soldiers. We finally managed to slay all the undead, but I'm predicting a poor battle rating. I'm afraid my territory will be decimated by the undead next night. The skeleton archers' range is surprisingly longer than mine, and those ghosts distract my soldiers from fighting. They can't stop the undead at all. My territory is gone, and I can only flee to the indigenous city. Those rubbish bamboo bows are no match for the skeleton archers' bone bows. I guess I need to invest in better bows for my archers. I don't have a mage to deal with the ghosts, but luckily I bought enchantment scrolls ahead of time. I'm so lucky. Numerous posts were filled with lords complaining about the newly appeared skeleton archers and ghosts, but how they felt little impact against the powerful skeleton knights. As long as the traps were well dug, the skeleton knights couldn't get close. Zhao Yi planned to hire more people tomorrow to continue digging traps outside the village. The appearance of skeleton archers and ghosts has caused a lot of trouble for the archer lord players. Not only ordinary lord players, but even lord players from major factions have suffered numerous casualties. It's expected that most lord players who are considering upgrading their villages to level 1 tomorrow will give up. With the novice period over, the cruelty of the game world is truly revealed to all players. The number of Lord players who, like Zhao Yi, can still destroy all the attacking undead without taking any damage is likely less than 1 in 1,000. Tomorrow's daytime battle settlement will likely result in fewer than 100 players receiving a gold treasure chest. With Zhao Yi securely receiving a gold treasure chest, he should be able to close the gap with the major faction players ahead. You destroyed 162 undead, you suffered 0 casualties, an excellent battle. Battle rating, C, points increased by 50%, professional experience increased by 50%, received a gold treasure chest. Zhao Yi opened the gold treasure chest, revealing 1 gold card, 3 silver cards, 5 bronze cards, 7 iron cards, and 9 ordinary cards. In the end, Zhao Yi chose the gold card, the Legion skill book, unwavering as a mountain, the silver card, the bow, primary mana potion 10, the bronze card, the level 2 evolution stone, and the knight recruitment scroll 3. The moment he saw the silver bow, Zhao Yi felt he had enough money to stock up on supplies and begin his territory advancement today. Bronze equipment could fetch dozens of low-grade magic crystals, while silver equipment could easily fetch hundreds. However, when he saw the level 2 evolution stone among the remaining cards, an idea struck Zhao Yi: sell it and keep the silver bow for himself. There was also a level 1 evolution stone in the pack. Even if he leveled up a level daily, it would still take 7 or 8 days before he could use the level 1 evolution stone, and even then, the level 2 evolution stone would have to wait even longer. With luck, he'd get one soon. Zhao Yi, a man with a natural quirk, would never miss an evolution stone if it appeared in a treasure chest. After all, evolution stones, besides their inherent importance, also commanded high prices in the market. Knight Recruitment Scroll 3 is worth 1,500 points. Primary Mana Potion 10 is worth 60 low-grade magic crystals. Zhao Yi checked the points mall and was stunned. A single Legion skilled book like this actually cost 100,000 points. It turns out that Unwavering is the most valuable item in the gold treasure chest, and it's not even available on the market. If Zhao Yi were to sell it, he'd definitely fetch a stratospheric price. The key is, if he sells it, it'll be difficult to buy a similar skilled book with real money. Anyone with ambition wouldn't choose to sell Unwavering anymore. Originally just an ordinary person on Blue Star, Zhao Yi's ambition surfaced within a few days of entering the game world. Unwilling to be a minor lord, unwilling to drift with a crowd, Zhao Yi fought tooth and nail to reach a C rank. Now, just 2 days after his novice period ended, he planned to advance his territory. Unwavering definitely couldn't be sold, but who would receive the skilled book was the question. The effect of Unwavering as a mountain is simple. When on the defensive, all personnel's defense is increased by 10% at the primary level, 20% at the intermediate level, and 30% at the advanced level. Zhao Yi already possesses a Legion skill, allowing him to shoot accurately, so archers can benefit significantly from this skill. There's no upper limit to the number of Legion skills a person can possess, the key lies in their combination. Zhao Yi considers himself a lord, and it's impossible for him to lead his troops in battle all the time. However, the only person in his territory currently possessing the leadership talent is Joanna, who has recently joined, so he has been personally directing battles. Compared to Blue Star's soldiers, or even some skilled gamers, Zhao Yi's battle command skills are quite subpar, and he can only rely on his own guesswork. As he gains more talented leaders under his command, Zhao Yi will try to delegate battles to them whenever possible, as their high loyalty doesn't mean he'll betray them. Since he won't have many opportunities to personally lead his troops in battle, Legion skills like Unwavering as a mountain are unnecessary. He can give this to a general who excels at attacking, allowing him to excel at both offense and defense, or he can give it to a general who excels at defense. After stashing the gold card representing mobility in his card pack, Zhao Yi postponed breakfast and first found Cici to ask her to hire more people today to dig traps outside the village. Adult women were also available. Then, Zhao Yi used a bronze card to obtain a level 2 evolution stone while heading to the market. Looking at the forum posts, the price of a level 2 evolution stone had already exceeded 600 low-grade magic crystals. The thought of his own level 2 evolution stone fetching the same amount, yet having to pay a 10% tax on the market price, made Zhao Yi's heart ache. He put the level 2 evolution stone up for auction at the market, setting a 3-hour deadline. After handling the auction, Zhao Yi headed to the Lord's mansion, where he planned to have breakfast, rest, and sort out his thoughts, primarily regarding the territory's advancement. He had to figure out how many new recruits he needed and how much military supplies he needed to purchase. These were things he had to handle on his own, with no one else to help him. Upon entering the Lord's mansion, Zhao Yi found Joanna preparing breakfast in the kitchen. Following Joanna's polite greeting, Zhao Yi joined Joanna and Jay for breakfast. What Zhao Yi hadn't noticed was that Joanna's loyalty, which had been boosted by last night's victory, had dropped again. Thanks to the bonus points for her C-rated rating, Zhao Yi now had 3,306 points. Of these, 2,000 points were needed to upgrade his rank, leaving him with only 1,306 points to use. With his territory about to be promoted, he would temporarily refrain from recruiting civilians, instead focusing on recruiting soldiers to strengthen his territory. Currently, Zhao Yi had 39 soldiers under his command, including 18 warriors, 4 assassins, 14 archers, 2 mages, and 1 priest. He also had 3 unused knight recruitment scrolls. Chapter 24 Heavy Knight. The territory's main drawbacks are mages and priests. Priests can heal and purify, and purification can be considered an offensive spell against the undead. The remaining points are only enough to recruit 1 mage. A 1-star fire mage with a natural talent might have less than a third of Joanna's combat power. It would be better to stockpile more magic scrolls and enchantment scrolls. The primary mana restoration potion found in the gold chest instantly restores mana. Give it to Joanna. 1 Joanna, capable of sustained damage output, is equivalent to 10 1-star fire mages. With Joanna's support, the territory's current magic output is barely sufficient. It would be better to add 4 more archers, all equipped with black iron bows, to boost the territory's strength by at least 10%. The remaining 106 points are unnecessary. This would add 7 new households to the territory, bringing the total population to approximately 470. The total number of undead in the 3 waves of attacking undead could reach as high as 500. The undead's strength will be significantly enhanced compared to normal. Therefore, prepare primary explosive arrows equal to the number of undead x2. Purchasing 1,000 arrows will cost 500 low-grade magic crystals. You'll also need to purchase 8 black iron bows, which will cost several dozen magic crystals. The remaining magic crystals will be used to purchase illumination arrows, magic scrolls, and enchantment scrolls. This time, only military supplies will be purchased, not daily necessities. Having finalized his plan, Zhao Yi didn't rest. He left the Lord's mansion and headed for the teleportation array, recruiting 3 knights and 4 archers. Zhao Yi was very familiar with archers, but this was his first time recruiting knights. He was taken aback when the heavily armored knights and their warhorses emerged from the teleportation array, each clad in steel armor. Such heavily armored knights could dismount their mounts and pick up their shields to become shield warriors, charging fearlessly against enemies many times their size. In a world without supernatural powers, they would be unstoppable. On the Origin continent, with a sufficient number of heavily armored knights, combined with other types of troops, they could easily dominate the battlefield. It's important to note that the most expensive item on a heavy knight's body is his warhorse, even his barely iron-grade armor. A professional's warhorse isn't just any ordinary horse, it bears a touch of Warcraft bloodline. Those with exceptional talent can even reach advanced levels. Before the plague of the undead, a heavy knight typically had 2 or 3 warhorses. With the plague's impact, humans are trapped in their cities, lacking both space and food, making it difficult to maintain more warhorses. This has significantly increased the price of warhorses. Furthermore, city defenses no longer require knights to charge into battle, significantly reducing the number of newly trained knights. Most ordinary knights only possess 1 warhorse. Recruiting a knight in the points marketplace requires 500 points, while a swordsman or lancer only requires 100 points, a 5-fold difference. The recruitment points are second only to those of magic classes. This demonstrates the importance of knights. Zhao Yi currently possesses 3 such heavy knights, but he hasn't yet had the opportunity to utilize them. There are 2 main issues: the small number of heavy knights and the fact that the territory is currently focused on defensive warfare. Knights who wished to participate in battle had no choice but to abandon their horses and fight on the ground. However, given the opportunity, Zhao Yi was very willing to develop a heavily armored cavalry unit. With the addition of 7 families, the territory's total population reached 476. The auction for the Level 2 Evolution Stone would take some time to conclude. Zhao Yi summoned the silver bow. While black iron equipment had 1 attribute and bronze equipment had 2, silver equipment had 3. The silver bow's attributes were precision, wind chase, and penetration. Precision increased hit rate. Wind chase imbued the arrow with a wind element, allowing it to travel at a faster speed. With penetration, an ordinary arrow, fired from a bamboo bow, would be ineffective against skeleton soldiers, but an arrow shot from a silver bow could pierce or shatter their bones. Furthermore, the silver bow had a longer range than bronze and black iron bows. With the silver bow in hand, coupled with the experience bonus from his rating, Zhao Yi felt his leveling would accelerate, and perhaps he would soon become the highest level person in the territory. The Lord is the highest ranking and most powerful person in the territory, which makes sense. Zhao Yi familiarized himself with the silver bow while waiting for the auction of the Level 2 Evolution Stone to end. Seeing that time was almost up, Zhao Yi walked into the market and checked the auction status on the screen. With 3 minutes left, the auction price kept jumping, each jump increasing by at least 1 low-grade magic crystal. Players continued to put evolution stones on the market for sale. After the locals recognized the power of evolution stones, the price of evolution stones rose significantly with each passing day. Finally, the auction ended, and the Level 2 Evolution Stone sold for a total of 652 low-grade magic crystals. The teleportation array lit up, and a storage box appeared. Zhao Yi placed the Level 2 Evolution Stone into the storage box. Just a minute later, another storage box appeared in the teleportation array. He opened the storage box, revealing 586 low-grade magic crystals and the remaining 8 gold coins. So many low-grade magic crystals, yet he had to spend them immediately. 1,000 primary explosive arrows, 8 black iron bows, with precision, 20 attack magic scrolls, 20 enchantment scrolls, and 20 illumination arrows. After completing the previous purchase from the Chamber of Commerce, Zhao Yi was left with only 10 low-grade magic crystals and 14 gold coins. The Chamber of Commerce gave Zhao Yi a discount and also gave him 1,000 ordinary arrows. Ordinary arrows were incredibly cheap, reportedly costing less than a silver coin. Compared to the supplies Zhao Yi had purchased, the 1,000 ordinary arrows he had given away were worthless. While the Chamber of Commerce made a fortune, Zhao Yi felt a pang of regret. He was determined to acquire an alchemist and build an alchemy workshop to produce his own primary explosive arrows. An alchemy workshop is a magical structure that can be built by purchasing blueprints and materials, but some players can also find one from a treasure chest. Like a market, it can be placed on the ground and used immediately. The structure was useless because it lacked people. Without an alchemist, the alchemy workshop would just sit there, taking up space. The transaction was complete. Before leaving the market, Zhao Yi exchanged 2,000 points for a second-class baron. He then opened the system dashboard and clicked Territory Promotion on the Territory page. This promoted his territory to a second-class baron, and his third-level village to a second-level village. After leaving the market, Zhao Yi first delivered 8 black iron bows to the archers still armed with bamboo bows, urging them to practice their skills in preparation for the evening's battle. Afterward, Zhao Yi headed to the battlefield area outside the village to check on the traps being dug. Saisi had hired over 150 men, half of whom were male, a quarter were female, and the remaining quarter were teenagers over 12 years old. Hiring an adult male cost 30 copper coins a day, an adult female 20 copper coins, and a teenager just 15 copper coins. The total daily fee was less than 40 silver coins, and lunch was provided, full black bread and hot soup with a hint of meat. Even in Rhoda, such work would be eagerly sought after by civilians. The trap area would be much larger this time, with the farthest point 65 meters from the wall, the closest point 5 meters, and a width of 30 meters, encompassing a full 1,800 square meters. Within the trap area, hired residents dug pits according to the lines drawn on the ground. The traps were generally 2 meters wide, with the shallowest being 2 meters, and ranging in length from 2 to 6 meters. A minimum of 1 meter of space was left between the traps to allow for easy walking. The land outside Zhao Village was originally cultivated, with relatively soft soil, allowing for rapid progress. By nightfall, at least 3/4 of the work was expected to be completed, which was sufficient. Back in Zhao Village, Zhao Yi continued practicing with his silver bow. Thanks to the silver bow's bonus attributes, even with the familiarity of the bow, His accuracy was comparable to that of a bamboo bow. Lunch was shared with Joanna and her brother. Joanna's appetite had increased slightly, and her loyalty had returned to 80. Chapter 25 The Fifth Night. During his lunch break, Zhao Yi browsed the forums. Most of the popular posts were discussing how to defend against the incoming undead. Having witnessed a formidable power of ghosts and skeleton archers last night, Lord players were actively preparing countermeasures today. The 3 military supplies Zhao Yi had also purchased, black iron bows, attack magic scrolls, and enchantment scrolls, were already being bought in large quantities by Lord players, causing their prices to rise rapidly. Lord players also purchased batches of illumination arrows and illumination scrolls. Non-archer Lord players were running low on archers, and it was too late to recruit them now, primarily because they didn't have enough points to recruit enough. Zhao Yi, for example, had 18 archers under his command, recruiting a few daily and accumulating them day by day. With so few archers, one player suggested buying alchemical bombs and planting them along the undead's path, detonating them when a large number of skeleton archers approached them. However, if the skeleton archers were scattered, this suggestion wouldn't kill many. To deal with archers, you have to rely on archers. After lunch break and archery practice, Zhao Yi went to inspect the trap area outside the village before dinner. After confirming that there were no problems, he ate dinner with his soldiers. Then, he sent out his assassins and waited for the undead horde to attack. In the forum, there were basically no posts about territory promotions today. There were probably only a handful of Lord players like Zhao Yi who had achieved this today. Anyone who dared to achieve this today was truly extraordinary. Soon, battles broke out between some players' territories and the incoming undead. With the help of black iron bows, attack magic scrolls, and enchantment scrolls, a small number of powerful territories once again wiped out the undead invading forces without any casualties. AC rating was a given. However, many more ordinary players' territories suffered casualties under the undead attack, especially those with limited resources. Since they couldn't find any valuable items in their treasure chests and their territories were short of funds, they suffered heavy casualties under the undead attacks. Even though all Lord players prepared measures to counter the ghosts and skeleton archers, some weaker territories could not be prevented from being annihilated by the undead, especially those Lord players who had already suffered heavy losses in last night's battle. Perhaps tonight's victory gave some powerful Lord players confidence, as several have already posted announcements announcing the promotion of their territories tomorrow. This includes player territories officially owned by Blue Star's 3 major military powers, Eli, Chen, and Laos. Analyzing the current situation, the emergence of the game world has brought little change to Blue Star. The only major change is the increased lifespan of some humans, which will not significantly alter the situation among the various nations on Blue Star. However, competition among the nations of Blue Star has also shifted from Blue Star to the game world, with each nation promoting its own representative player territories on the forums. It's undeniable that a major war between players will ensue. For now, Zhao Yi isn't interested in these matters, it's better to focus on developing his own territory. As time passes, the first wave of incoming undead finally appears, and Zhao Yi leads his soldiers in battle preparations. After the assassins' reconnaissance, they discovered that the first wave of undead attack consisted solely of skeleton knights and ghouls, numbering over 150. The lack of ghosts and skeleton archers made things easier. With so many traps dug, they could easily keep the undead close, increasing their chances of success and reducing their explosive arrow consumption. Zhao Yi dared to boast that he handled the most gold of all Blue Star players. Even among the powerful lords, few surpassed him. Even the most fortunate couldn't always secure the best treasures from the treasure chests. Zhao Yi could do it, and he always chose the most valuable items, often leaving the more numerous common and iron cards untouched. If all lords were ranked by the number of primary explosive arrows purchased, Zhao Yi would undoubtedly be first, far exceeding the next highest. Zhao Yi dared to advance to new territory the day after his novice period, all thanks to his wealth. The undead were drawing ever closer. As the burning soul fire drew within 100 meters of the wall, a flare arrow shot out. In an instant, the darkness was illuminated, and immediately afterward, nearly 20 explosive arrows flew past. One arrow, noticeably faster than the others, struck the leading skeleton knight in the chest. With a blaze of fire, the skeleton knight's soul fire was completely extinguished. The next moment, with a series of explosions, the undead army, having lost over a dozen skeleton knights, charged toward Zhao village. The cavalry's charge far outpaced the infantry's. At a distance of several dozen meters, Zhao Yi and his archers only had time to fire their second and third arrows, destroying over 30 undead before a skeleton knight, leading the charge, stumbled headfirst into a trap. The low-level undead, lacking in intelligence, charged forward with impassive force, only to stumble into the traps with unpredictable accuracy. A few were lucky enough to land on solid ground, but just as they passed the first trap, they fell into the second. Skeleton knights in front filled the pits, while those behind them stepped on the bodies of their trapped companions, continuing forward and falling into the traps ahead. Zhao Yi and his archers fired explosive arrows relentlessly, slaying each undead that emerged from the traps or barely showed its head. The undead were too numerous, and their explosive arrows were rapidly depleting. Fortunately, Zhao Yi had prepared 1,000 explosive arrows for this territory promotion, otherwise, he worried he wouldn't have enough, and would have had to resort to human lives. The archers only stopped when no more undead emerged from the traps. Zhao Yi ordered shield warriors, spearmen, and warriors forward to eliminate the remaining undead trapped in the traps. He also sent out assassins to investigate the next wave of undead. The warriors advanced cautiously, fearing they could easily fall into the traps and join the undead. Lighting was no longer available with flash arrows, but with ordinary torches. Various alchemical lamps were also available in the marketplace. While reasonably priced, they required magic crystals for energy. For the time being, Zhao Yi didn't intend to spend his limited funds on these lamps. The warriors eliminated the remaining undead and returned to the wall to prepare for battle. 10 minutes later, the assassin returned with the new information for Zhao Yi. In another 5 or 6 minutes, the next wave of undead would appear, mainly skeleton soldiers, skeleton swordsmen, skeleton lancers, skeleton archers, and dozens of ghosts. Compared to the first wave of undead, the second wave deserved Zhao Yi's more attention. The skeleton archers and ghosts, the most difficult for all Lord players to deal with, had arrived. In comparison, the skeleton knights were easier to deal with. When the leading skeleton swordsman entered the range of 150 meters, a flare arrow was fired. Following the light, Zhao Yi led a group of archers to shoot at the skeleton archer. Although Zhao Yi had only been familiar with the silver bow for a short time, with a bonus of the silver bow's attributes, Zhao Yi's archery hit rate was no lower than that of other archers. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.